It is officially well past our hard start. We're moving into fashionably late for our hard start. And so, before we dive in, both feet, are there any questions, suggestions, hypotheses, or corners we need to round up?
I suggest we all have a lovely time.
That is a very good suggestion. I will just make a little note of that. Stick that right here in front of the computer. And
let's see. As for questions, are there any other particular players that we need to worry about outside the Prince within this little region? Or is that something that might just be unveiled as they are required?
Oh, no, they'll be unveiled in the first few moments of our actual opening. We're in the pre-moments. The orchestra is warming up. They're tuning their instruments. The crowds who line the block waiting to get in are moving through the doors, stopping at the coat check and hat check girls and guys, depositing in their things. Some folks are swinging by the concession stands, picking up bottles of wine. We have those little nice, small Sutter Home individual servings of wine, both pink, yellow, and red, because we don't really want to bother calling them blush, rosé, or white, because that would be a little bit of a misnomer. Sutter Home barely quantifies as wine, but it is a good sip in a pinch. We also serve hard alcohol, various whiskeys, gins.
Okay.
Homemade artisanal vodkas even, which is where we hope everyone begins to spend their hard-earned money. The floors are carpeted in thick, well-worn, but yet somehow very well-maintained carpet with patterns that you haven't seen since the 1920s. Above your head is a work of art. Hand-carved tiles and wooden buttresses abound, letting you know that unlike taking a night at the movies, this is a cathedral to the art of expression through acting.
Okay. And last but not least, we are in fact a coterie, a relatively well-connected coterie.
You have no choice but to be well-connected. The distance of travel between Grand Bay and Bayou La Batre is one of a blink and you'll miss it. There are several ways, of course, and there's several many ways to get lost in the Grand Savannah Bay Nature Preserve, which is the bottom, takes up 3/4 of the bottom of the actual territory, and it's not even considered by locals as part of the princedom. It doesn't really consider itself part of the domain. The prince even turns a blind eye to most things that happen in the preserve. The reason for that is because Forest Preserve, National Wildlife, and the Border Patrol use that area for maneuvers, for exercises, for studying various local Alabama-specific flora and fauna. It is too heavily trafficked by mortal authorities for Kindred to play there willy-nilly. There are night maneuvers held by the Coast Guards in the nature preserve. So a Kindred foolish enough to venture too deeply off the major roads well into the forest preserve is asking for trouble. And as Princess Milena says, any fool who asks for trouble, it would be rude of us not to deliver it unto them, wouldn't it?
Perfect. All right, with that, I think I've got all the information I really need. Beautiful. Well, I've got all my questions answered.
Excellent. And without too much further ado, until we don't, I'd like to say, first and foremost, thank you all for this opportunity to yet again enjoy this hobby of ours. As many times as we are beaten down by the bane on our daily existences, as many times as we get caught up in the very real dramas and traumas of our lives, we often forget how important play is. Once we reach a certain age, it's typically frowned on. Why don't you grow up and get a real job? Why, so I can die sooner? But the truth of the matter is, you don't get old and stop playing. You get old because you stop playing, whatever that play is. And this hobby of ours is our play. So thank you, thank you, and thank you. And without continuing to ado down the road, this is officially the Coast After Dark first one-shot hide and seek. We open on a, as usual, warm Alabama winter night. What that means for the Kindred is that it's still freaking cold. Cold is, while not as immediately dangerous as the sun or its distant cousin fire, cold is death. And they should know, because they are constantly always cold. They are not the quick any longer, though they still are ambulatory. They still resurrect for the night. But cold is dangerous because it creeps into the bones and radiates out into the muscles, freezing you in space, freezing you where you are, crushing and destroying as the ice grows, tissues obliterated, heart obliterated, mind obliterated. Cold is the one thing that once it sets in, you must do everything you can to minimize its hold on you, to break free. Because like frogs in a pot with the heat slowly turned up, you get cold, you don't realize how soon you will be dead, because it happens so slowly and just creeps over you. There's rumors that Mount Everest is not taller simply because of the many hikers and climbers that have had their last moments atop its summit, but because Kindred, foolish enough to believe that they can travel by night and can do the unthinkable and need to find a place to beat the beast, go to the most inhabitable locations, explore ways to stuff the beast into a dark little corner and never let it out, have found themselves alone on a mountainside with cold creeping into their limbs. And before they know it, they are joining all of those many that they've escorted into the other side. They slipped across the shroud and don't know how to get back. That very much is why, even on as warm and wet and humid as an Alabama winter is, it's still a danger to be out in the cold. With that realization in mind, and knowing that winter is just beyond the pale, and knowing that winter is still very much winter, each of the members of the coterie have received a summons. While there is no official Elysium, especially as word has been given that within 100 miles of the Pentarchy, there aren't to be any celebrations. There aren't to be any distractions drawing the attention of anyone from the council, no archons, none of their hounds, nothing that would attract attention into the area. There is a changing of guards there across the border. And as is always, squeezed in as they are between Alabama and Louisiana, you kind of have to either obey or declare an actual action against them. So Prince Milena to her face, is acquiescent. She is accepting of that request. Especially being as, if rumor is to be believed, the old man Ambrose is no longer the chief pentarch. He is not the leader of that little coterie of princes that rule that coastline. It's the mad one. It's Prince Christopher. It's Bill, as she's been heard to say offhandedly, for those who are not aware that that's who she's referring to. When she speaks of that devil Bill, that is whom she speaks of. His efforts, his retainers, his allies, his reach has occasionally crossed the border. Most times he is cordial enough to notify her. Most times he is smart enough to not raise her ire, because there are more than one way to wage a war. Seldom does it need to come down to the loss of immortality or the loss of death, of existing life. There are many ways, and Prince Milena knows quite a few of them, and she has used them on no few occasions when those fools across the border dare to attempt to disrespect what she has wrought. So all the same, knowing that it is not Elysium, and receiving the summons, knowing that her drivers will be along shortly. Where is everyone? And let's start in alphabetical order.
Okay.
So, Jazmin, the prince has sent a summons. The prince will send the driver sooner rather than later.
So, knowing that there's a driver on their way to me, I would probably find myself in the opening hours of this scene, finishing up a bit of business at the rehabilitation center. Getting together with the night nurses and establishing a routine, letting them know that unfortunately I've got a family problem coming up and I'm going to have to step out for the night, and, putting in my time on whatever application it is they've got nowadays. And I'll probably be loitering around the front of the building waiting for the driver to arrive. There's no point in playing dangerous with this. Normally, I like to be punctual, especially whenever it's a summon from the prince. You don't want to keep them waiting. So if they're sending a man for me, then I will meet that person right at the gate.
Sounds like a plan. Mirella.
Alright, so Mirella, she would be at her business, which is for alcohol and drug rehabilitation. Probably making sure that the doctors are getting paid, so she would be speaking with the accountants, making sure all the money that came in has been distributed, and then she would wait until maybe 3 to 5 minutes to when the car should be there, and then she would cut that business with the accountant short and wait outside under the shielded vestibule and wait for the car to pull up.
And Trish.
Trish is typically kind of a free spirit, but she'd probably be out taking pictures with her camera, trying to get landscape photos and things like that. Then looking at her watch, realizing what time it is, going to the place where she told the car they could meet her. Because obviously she's learned, like the rest, don't keep the prince waiting. Making sure that even though it's nothing fancy she's wearing or whatever, she's at least presentable. Her low-rise jeans secure and not too much jewelry going on, things tucked away, her dreads pulled up high in a bun out of her way, and yeah, she's just kind of waiting. Got her little bag slung over her shoulder.
So needless to say, everyone is as prompt as possible. And usually when the prince sends a summons, it's a large vehicle. Yes, there's infrastructure in the area and the roads are fairly well kept. They don't even use salt during the winter. It is sand. So the roads aren't eaten up. There aren't huge potholes, but when they do develop, well, they're enough to swallow half the world when they do. So oftentimes, a lot of the shortcuts, a lot of the paths of ease is in fact off-road. So most of the Prince's vehicles are designed for that maneuverability. Big, large, monstrous SUVs, which cost several fortunes to keep the fleet of vehicles operational. It usually comes in handy when some of those big Hollywood types need small town footage, and they'll send their teams and their B-reels and all of those lesser Hollywood personages. Rarely is someone of notable stature visiting, but when they do, Prince Milena's fleet of vehicles is often one of the first things that is used. It keeps the money coming in. And while Hollywood is usually the go-to because they just throw money at everything far more than you would expect for a simple thing as just filming the outside of one's home, there are other local dignitaries that also uses Prince Milena's fleet of vehicles for exorbitant rates, of course, but one hand washing and strangling the other is what business is all about, after all, right? So you all aren't surprised when the off-road tired heavy SUVs pull up. Each of them, one in dark blue, one in almost gray, dark enough to still be considered black, but just light enough that there's a minor difference. The other, a black on black model that is dark enough that the light seems to be absorbed by it. Of the three vehicles, which do you all believe was the one that picked you all up?
So I feel like the blue one came from me. I feel like the blacker than black is really professional. It's really like the high-end executive model, the one that's sent to fetch the very creme de la creme. And being 2 years old as I am, I feel as if I was relegated to the light blue model.
Okay.
That kind of like, you still yet to prove yourself. We're sending for you, but we're not sending everything for you.
Blacker than black. The film is really blacker than black.
Okay. Do tell.
Well, because out of all of them, while they're identical, the colors themselves is kind of a reflection of what we see of ourselves. And that's why she wants to send them, just to see how we see ourselves. And of course, the blacker than black is the professional model. She wants to see what we think of ourselves in relation to her. And since that is the most professional, that is the most costly of colors, because I think you're picking the, what is that paint? The blacker than black paint is the most expensive one, and it's the hardest to keep up. That one would be the one that this character would get into. Just to prove a point that, yeah, I am worth that one.
Yeah, I guess. Then Trish is kind of stuck with what's left, and she is perfectly fine with that. Trish is very much a go with the flow sort of gal.
Understandable. And we know that the rehabilitation center that Jazmin works at is in Grand Bay. Who else is actually in Grand Bay, or who is in Bayou La Batre?
Trish would probably be more towards the bayou. She doesn't typically like to leave too far from home.
Mirella?
Grand Bay. It's where most of the tourists is, and it actually has the best view for the rehabilitation center, furthest away from everything. Don't want to be too close. Don't want them junkies sneaking out to go get high or anything.
I love that I'm in physical rehab and you're in drug rehab.
That is interesting to say the least. So needless to say, you all are escorted from both ends of the domain, both north and south, from right along the coast to right along the border, which is officially 10, Interstate 10, which cuts across and cuts all the way. If you get on 10, you can literally go all the way to New Orleans. Though most folks in Alabama don't give two shits about going to New Orleans. That's them things that them other folks do. We ain't got time for that. There's plenty of life and plenty of party right down here in Alabama, I tell you that. So needless to say, you all converge from north and south towards a middle point along the 188, the coastal connection. You all drive roughly about 10-15 minutes to find yourselves exiting off of I-88, 188 onto Grand Garden Drive. Now that leads around a relative small community all of its own. The Grand Garden area is mostly for retirees and suitably well-off individuals. The homes aren't mansions, and they are in fact retirement homes, though one would be hard-pressed to tell the difference as you pass estates that are designed to look like your typical average American suburban 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath, but multiplied by several hundred and occasionally several thousand square feet. Take Grand Garden Drive all the way around to the one road that leads off of it, Grand Circle. There are only 3 official homes on Grand Circle and 4 official properties, one of them being the church, which sits there in all of its resplendent glory. While it's not in fact a mega church, it does have a helipad. So you take Grand Circle all the way to the end, watching all of this lavish southern finery. Gone as the antebellum colonnades and have taken care of homes that are in need of paint, effort, and carpentry. No, the homes here and the air here has a certain echelon. You take Grand Circle all the way to the end, to the last property. And like all of the old movies from MGM Universal, that seems as if you step back into black and white and there's eerie cracking of thunder and lightning in the distance. You can hear the howl of wolves just out of sight. That's how it feels. Though the home is brightly lit, it's a pastel blue castle. Not an actual castle of stone and mortar, but it is wide, tall, high. There are clearly areas where, if you were so inclined, you could place guards along the ramparts. You, when driving to the home, immediately feel like every person that is not a towering 10 or 12 feet tall, small. The doorway is 9 inches thick. The door itself, the wood that's used, comes from the area. It is a hickory that they use to make the door. The handles are these huge copper knockers, and the windows lit up with people. You see long red party dresses, blazers, people laughing and enjoying shrimp canapes and holding glasses of wine. The lawn, of course, is manicured, and you see that your vehicles are not the only vehicles of such everyday finery. There are long stretch Rivians, there are several $1,000 SUVs, there's a few Teslas, which makes your skin crawl because they are definitely signs of new money, and in the mix of all of these vehicles, there's also an actual honest-to-goodness yellow cab. There's a Ford F-150, and you see several golf carts parked along the edge. Your driver moves around the drive, dropping you off at the front door, where honest-to-goodness footmen, though they aren't called that these days, are standing and waiting to escort you all in.
Wonderful. So, stepping out of the vehicle, talking back into the cab for a moment, just you got to make sure to take one of those supplements daily. I understand that we all work at night, but vitamin D is very important. Yeah, you may be compensated in some other form and fashion that'll keep you a little bit more healthy, but there's a difference between being alive and being alive, okay? I buy these rather frequently, so just keep the bottle. And just turns around and greets the footman. Oh, hello. Wow, this is a lot more fancy than... I thought we weren't supposed to have parties.
You aren't supposed to have parties, madam, but Mistress Milena will see you in the library.
All right, well, thank you very much. I suppose I'll be on my way then. No point in keeping anybody waiting.
You all are arriving roughly at the same time, so there's a line slowly, gently forming behind you of two other individuals stepping out of SUVs. Just,
looking back as the other two vehicles pull up, noticing the similar make and model, as her two well-known friends, the coterie members, pop out and just kind of oh my god, hi, Noella! Hello! Did you get called here too?
Mirella gets out of this vehicle. Eyes just flat. Look at disdain at the driver. You really couldn't drive any faster? I have things that I'm supposed to do tonight. Any faster?
Come on, don't be like that to the help. You know what happens when you do that? They end up burying you.
Or I bury the help. That's always fun. She looks back at the driver. How are you, Jazmin? I haven't seen you in forever.
I'm doing fine, doing lovely. I had this thing happen the other day, but that resolved itself really quickly. And to suffice to say, I was satisfied by the end of it. Looks past them towards the other truck. It seems Abel is here too. So it's all three of us then? If you guys are called here for the same thing, we're supposed to get to the library?
Trisha kind of looks to it and looks at Mirella, girl, you stay bougie. Jesus. Anyway, library, let's go then.
Yes, let's get to it.
Hurry.
the footman opens the door. And
there was a game about that.
The footman opens the door and you can tell that it is in fact some effort. And it's hard to not realize what Prince Mirella considers of the help. There are hundreds, thousands of door openers and closers that would make that task considerably easier. And yet, she has this hinge-hung monstrosity, and they have to open it manually for each of the guests that have arrived. And gauging by the activity you all see through the front window, there's at least 20, maybe 25 people inside. And you know that all of them didn't arrive together, which means these two footmen have had to pull and torque and open these massive doors, at least, counting you all, 29 times this evening. The strain is obvious, though they keep a placid face. The tightening of the jaw is all that actually betrays how much effort this actually is. And then the insult to it all, the injurious part, is once the doors are open, because of how they are hung, they have to maintain their pressure against the door until you all enter.
Just kind of as the realization of how exactly the prince treats the help settles in, just kind of looks back over to Noelle and is like, okay, never mind, I guess we've got to adopt your way of going about it then. I'll let you talk to the help. I'm not too good at being rude to people, service industry and all that.
Of course. Usually I am right. Mirella walks very slowly, almost ungodly slowly for her speed, to the door. Waits until they have it nice and opened, looks at them, walks in, let everybody walk in, and then she asked the footman, exactly how much weight does that door?
We wouldn't know, madam. I'm sorry. It's considerable.
So how many times have you had to open the door today?
You lose count after a while.
I see. Is the mistress in the library?
Yes. Your cars we were told to the library. It's down a hall to the right.
Gotcha. I understand. Walks past them, wait until everyone walks in, and then walk back to the door like I did and open it again.
Oh, aren't you a cunt?
Once the doors begin to close, it takes considerably more effort to try to stop it. And unlike modern conveniences such as, sensors to keep you from losing fingers, the doors aren't exactly made for that. And as you get closer, you realize that they've already slammed their fingers a couple of times. There's the pinky of one glove that seemed a little softer and larger than its mate on the other hand. The other one has two fingers that clearly don't bend the way that they once used to. You know that it's only due to their skill that they have not actually lost the entire digit. And your actions cause them to allow it to close and then begin to open it. Ma'am, you need something?
I was going to get something and I forgot what it was. Never mind. And walk back in.
Just a kind of very pained and feeling pity expression, just kind of whispers back to one of the doormen, very much like "You got this. I believe in you." And then turns to keep heading towards the library.
Let me just make a quick note of that. As you all make it to the library, the hall is in and of itself a work of complete fiction, though believably so. There's pictures of Mirella, Princess Milena on the beach, the sun setting in the distance. There's pictures of Prince Milena down in the bayou, right there on the end of the wharf as the boat from Forrest Gump is sailing during its test run. Right there off of the state docks, that little launch there where you can look out at the bay, at the Gulf of Mexico, as well as the river that runs north from there. She's standing there with the mayor of Bayou La Batre. She's standing there with several of the council members of the city council. She has pictures of her with nearly each and every one of them. And all but 2 are either at sunset or clearly during the day. And then the final dash of this is just too good to be true is her standing at the prow of the Black Pearl, the completed Black Pearl that was built right here in Bayou La Batre. And the sun is setting behind her, and for a brief moment that picture seems the most accurately real image of the prince, as her dark windswept hair is pulled back from her face. The dress that she's wearing is billowy enough that it causes, when the wind that was blowing in the picture, for it to seem to caress along her, as if she was always meant to be aboard a ship, storming some beach, or leading some group of buccaneers against another ship. She looks as if she belongs in the age of sail. Yet that's impossible. Those pictures are during the day. That's clearly not possible. The sun kills you all. And finally you make it to the library. You're expecting a huge old thing with shelves lined full of books, but instead there's several couches. There's an honest to goodness foosball table not far from the window, just behind the drape. Well, you can't see it from the outside because of the drape, but it's there. And several armchairs. The walls are not lined with books. The walls are just simple wood paneling. Here and there you see 1 or 2 books on an end table, but there aren't shelves lining the floor to ceiling. There aren't any other signs that this is in fact a library. Yet it's clearly where you were directed.
And just leaning over to her colleagues, just, so do we just walk up and say hi in this matter, or she seems to be busy talking to somebody? You know, I'm sure she'll get to us when she's already noticed we're here, I'm sure.
I'm sure she wouldn't waste our time. I'm sure that she would be a dear, and once she's done talking, she would speak with us. At least that's the hope anyway.
Awesome. Okay. So just hang out and wait then?
But you can always ask one of the other helper whether or not is she taking meetings. But she did bring us out here, so it's a good guess that she has something that she wants to get off of her chest, as it were.
Okay. And she'll just flag down, I suppose, a waiter or some help of form. And just let them know that they're here to see the prince, and to alert her to come to that they are there whenever she is free of whatever business she is currently engaged in.
Meanwhile, they are doing all this, Trish just kind of steps to the side, kind of looks at the amount of people that the prince has around them, and with absolutely no kook at all. Hey, girl, hey! We here?
Would you be so kind? You know what? No, I'm not gonna have you roll. I'll roll for you. Give me 1 quick second. Let's head on over to there. We're gonna look there in that dash channel, and it's going to be standard DC. And what is the result of that standard DC? All right, and what is Trisha's etiquette, politics, or streetwise?
I believe your etiquette is 3, correct? Streetwise is also 3.
Correct.
All right. There are certain things that demand redress. These have been beaten into you several hundred times over during your living years and a few times after. When crossing the very real and invisible cased lines in any setting, one must be either completely unassailable or prepared to bring the entirety of the structure down, even if it's done empirically. Trish would be hard-pressed to say that she was willing or able to do either. Yet there are some moments, some situations where being bold by throwing the dice, one could hope for a measure of "Kid, I like your moxie," or "Kid, you got spunk," or any one of those many epitaphs to say that while fortune favors the bold and the brave, that you have enough of both being bold and brave to dare. However, this is not one of those situations. There is an immediate pausing of things. There is a record skip moment. Most of the eyes look in your direction. And instead of being appalled, instead of being agog or aghast, the most senior woman present, who happens to be clearly one of the senior staff, the sort of person that is middle management, keeping those above in their place and those below in their place, who you are expecting to saunter over and give you the proper tongue lashing of your place. She doesn't. She looks at you. And in that moment of her staring from your shoes all the way up you can feel her eyes crawling over you to your head and back down. You can literally hear, though nothing's being said, it is not even worth the time. And she turns back to tending the other guest.
Ooh. It's okay, Trish. Just kind of pats her on the shoulder. A for effort.
At least she knows we're here now.
Yeah.
Not sure if that's a good thing.
Well, I mean, we did accomplish our goal.
It's kind of like pouts her lower lip out. Stuffy ass party anyway. Kim goes to find a seat, flounces herself over to a chair.
Well, I suppose when we've got some time, Noella, you want to do some schmoozing? There's a lot of really important people here from the look of it.
I would, but she leans in closer. and lowers her voice. All of these people are here just specifically to kiss her ass. They're not really worth schmoozing, but we can try.
I mean, it kind of leans back in and whispers, isn't that exactly what our job is too?
That's what she hopes, but no.
All right. Well, let's get to socializing, I suppose. We'll go and collect Trish once we're called upon.
And as always, time is the thief of forever. Timing and pacing and the ebb and flow of things is always working counterproductive to what we want, need, and stymies our understanding of which is which for ourselves. As Trish settles in a nearby chair and the two others, Jazmin and Mirella, begin to stalk, itemize their prey. They're sizing people up by their apparent wealth versus their actual wealth. It is in this that it's easier for them to understand that there's the appearance of wealth, and then there is that real wealth. The guy who's just comfortable. He's not dressed in any logos or any well-known tailors. The woman who refuses to wear this big, huge, glittering thing, but the small pieces that she is wearing actually have impeccable clarity. The cut is designed to catch every flickering, faint touch of light, versus these huge, gaudy necklaces and bangles and bobs and earrings that are huge, but aren't as impeccably cut, styled, nor have as much clarity. There's, the slick back hair guy who is perfectly designed to have the appearance of someone who has wealth, who stands out as such, but looking him up and down and realizing that those are actually brown shoes with black polish, that he is not in fact as wealthy as he thinks he is, nor nearly as wealthy as he presents. And as you all are sizing up the other guests and important dignitaries, Princess Milena appears. There's a moment where the lights seem to dim just a little. It happens subtly. It happens what I think it happened slowly, but the truth of the matter is it happened faster than one would actually be able to put a finger on. And all the lights dim just enough that chandelier over her head as she moves into the room seems to be a spotlight. And she offers a touch here and a touch there, a handshake here, a smile there. And even though she's doing so, her eyes are clearly on you three as she's making her way across the room. A soft smile and incline of the head, a one-armed hug here, and a double handshake there as but I'll be with you in a second. Of course, let me take care of you a bit moments. Yes, of course, it's so lovely to see you again. We will speak about that shortly. And oh my goodness, you have chosen impeccably the cut. I'm just simply impressed. Thank you so much. I will be with you in a moment. And yes, hi, yes, of course. Yes, of course. As soon as I take care of a few other matters, there's quite a few guests that I need to speak with. I'll be with you in a second. Thank you so very much. And as she crosses to you, there are several eyes going in your general direction. There are several rows of attention and several, what do they have there? Clearly the help. And she's there amidst you three. She inclines her head in greeting to each of you individually, first and foremost. Trish, ever the artist, it is lovely to see you. Jazmin. And Mirella. If you all will accompany me out onto the balcony. She moves towards the window, which you realize is not just a floor-to-ceiling window, but is in fact a door outside as well. You expect the doors to open just to get out of her way, and yet she actually bothers to open it herself. A rare moment of her coming off of the mountain, as it were, of social prestige and power. That simple act showing who she actually is. For all of the traipsings and the trappings of wealth and social status, she is very much a hands-on person. Exiting out into the Alabama night, she waits for you all to exit. It closes the door behind you all.
All right. Very quickly, we kind of made a bit of a scene for ourselves. There's now room to make up. Follow along.
Arlo follows quickly. Not too quickly where she's able to be right behind her, but just fast enough where she's behind Jazmin.
Trish has stopped pouting, obviously, and once the prince acknowledged them, they kind of smiled and stood, and they are following behind, keeping pace with Mirella.
I did expect more of your particular group of kindred to arrive. The invitations were properly sent. Just for my clarity, you all did receive the summons, correct?
Of course. You two, same, right?
Yes, it was such an important event that I vacated my business just to make sure that I could be here on time.
Yeah, I have no idea what could be keeping those other ones, but, at the very least, we wouldn't dare ignore such an important summons from such an important lady.
That is music to my ears. Now, if you all received the summons and chose not to arrive, just between us, what do you think would be the most accurate manner of dealing with that clear-cut insult?
I would say a very quick, a very efficient disposal. That's at least from my point of view. You give them any more time and any more personalization, then, well, you're implying that they're worth the effort and worth the thought.
Oh, I see. Interesting. Quick, efficient.
Personally, while I would never contradict my good friend here, I kind of think that it should be served cold. Oh, I would say maybe a few months of starving their businesses, and now this may be a bit petty, so take it with a grain of salt, perhaps starving their food supply for a time so that they can have the same feeling of want and desire that you feel they should have actually attended your set.
Just a kind of very, very light melodic chuckle, and just, oh, Noella, if you expect us to be able, people like us to be able to have the prince experience anything but disdain, then you're really looking highly upon us. Which, thank you for the compliment, but I'm not going to raise myself up that high.
That's true. That's true, definitely.
And Jazmin?
Doesn't answer. There was Trish that was waiting to see what the other two said. Trish looks about like she's thinking. She's kind of thinking on it. I mean, really, they ain't really nobody, but if you wanted them here, then it was important that they showed up, and if they ain't show up, then they should be punished for it, I guess.
I see. That is quite curious. All three of our burgeoning future leaders believe that the slight, for various reasons, is worthy of the attention necessary to run them down, to punish them, because they chose anything and everything except for their necessary respect of their betters. That is interesting. Your sires have done you well, and your time here in Grand Bay is clearly proving that they were right about you all. It's not an easy decision to come to. It's not an easy decision to carry out. Because on one hand, of course, there is the idea of the care and maintenance sent and put into inviting someone else into your home, your hearth, your kindness, and your hospitality. And on the other, there is those of value not only themselves, but the system in which they are allowed to exist. And thus, those who can't show the proper respect have no value. I may be oversimplifying things, but time is of the essence after all. Yes, while being true that if you are important, they will wait. Someone who is important doesn't waste others' time. So, I invite you all here this evening for that question predominantly, but also I have news. This evening, there are various festivities happening around the country, and some closer than others. And that gives many of us the audacity to attempt usurping control, laying the foundation work for later attacks, slighting our betters, and otherwise behaving as if they are mice and the cat is away. You all are by far the most promising of our fellows here in Grand Bay. As such, each of you having distinguished yourself for one, and she looks at you, Trish, or looking from Jazmin to Mirella, or another, have distinguished yourself and have earned for any and all of the transgressions that have happened, have been believed to have been swept under the carpet, a measure of my calm, my peace, my forgiveness, barring your efforts in assuring us all of your loyalty to the idea of us. After all, one day things will change, and you may be in a similar situation as myself currently. There are appearances to maintain, alibis to ensure hold sway. For those of you familiar with Grand Bay Cemetery, you are aware that it is in fact a shelf company and a shell company for various enterprises. Many of our circulatory system members use it as a place to divest themselves of remains, to hide the efforts. Hence the reason why the dog grooming is very close, as well as Starlight Stables. Those companies act as forward agents for us, Kindred. They've had several disturbing sightings. You all are to retrieve their videographic information from them and assure them that they don't need to worry any longer. As well as, most importantly, ensure that none of those who have viewed, seen, or otherwise utilize that information for their own potential gain, such as leveraging me into action, live to regret that decision. Unless, of course, there is another option that you all think might be as judicious.
Wonderful. And we will make sure to use our best judgment in that regard. Though, of course, the most simple and direct and true to your word response is the first of considerations. We'll see what's the situation when we get there, and I suppose decide how exactly to handle those individuals on a case-by-case basis.
That is, in fact, a very succinct way of phrasing that. But before we go, she points across the lawn, southwest from where you all are standing. It's mostly dark. There's a few trees blowing gently, and they form the bases of her tree line, which, well, is how she maintains a level of privacy that her otherwise potentially nosy neighbors could peer through. Being led from the tree line, you see Marcelo Aconcio. He's one of your coterie members. He's been dead exactly 3 months. With him, you see Dove, who has been amongst the Kindred for the last 30 years. You knew something was going on between those two, because out of nowhere, being so young as he has been making considerable moves with his small shipping business that he inherited. Seems as if Dove was puppeting and parroting him for a takeover of the other ship companies nearest him, causing an uproar in the economy. And they both deigned to not be here, not to arrive when you all did. And you see them there at the tree line, being escorted out of the tree line. The prince moves towards the door, preparing to open it. I don't see why you all wouldn't watch the efforts of your previous instances and what the lack of my consideration does for you. And she opens the door. The moment that she opens the door, Dove is beheaded. It's not an easy thing to behead an adult. The bones, the tendons, the age, the muscles, all of that gets in the way. But it was done so smoothly that it is clear a practiced hand, especially standing. And as the head is still held, Marcelo's face is forced into it. He's held there, his beast and him having a very long, very quick conversation, and him giving over to that. And watching him slobber and fight to breathe, knowing you all don't have to, is a very interesting lesson. As long dead as you all have been, there's always something new, something else to consider. In a moment of blind panic, torn between his beast and what little bit of humanity a 21-year-old has, he chose to fight to breathe as his beast fights to consume every drop of that spurting, glorious vitae.
it's a very kind of enraptured shock, like you're watching the prelude to a car crash. A small parting of her lips as she's staring out at this gives a very, very tiny window to the flicking of her tongue over the end of her fang, watching this display, both in memory of the apparent crimes and affronts which the prince had mentioned being forgiven in the past, and also at the knowledge of what exactly their once friend is dining upon. It's a mixture of almost jealousy and also horror that plays across her expression. As she is both thankful that she's not the one out there, but there's a part of her that very much wants to be. Though not for most of the reason that he is out there. Well, girls, she says after a few moments, I suppose we'd better not mess up.
Mirella looks with cold, dead eyes. That was a very miraculous cut. The blade was impossibly sharp. I'm impressed. That was nice. I wish to not be on the end of that blade, but I hope that one day I'll see it again.
Yeah. Let's hope that you are the one watching it being used and not the one it is used upon. So let's go back over what it was we were supposed to do, right? Get the CCTV information from the dog grooming place and the stables nearby the cemetery, correct? And deal with anybody who has viewed / used or attempted to use said information. Am I missing anything here?
Well, don't forget the possibility that if we do have the judicial pull to deal with anything that would be problematic.
All right. And the ability to patch up any boo-boos that we come across. Wonderful. I don't know how much longer that little display is going to go on out there, but I have the sinking feeling that if we leave prematurely, we're going to be in a little bit of trouble.
True, but we probably want to get those tapes quickly, because that could be problematic if someone else was to get them before we did.
True. Alright, I'm gonna have to err on the side of caution here and say that we should probably get to our job. And hope that Little Dove out there gets some form of mercy, I suppose?
We'll find out. If we come back and he's not, well, Dove is not here, then we know that he didn't.
Well, I mean, if they kill him, that's a form of mercy. There are so many worse things they could... Okay, we're just going to keep moving on, because thinking about that is not making my mood any better.
The fact that he's being forced to feed upon his immortal love, being freshly created, there's such a strong need for any sense of normalcy towards your former existence. There's a want for the idea that when you die for the day that you're just going to sleep, that, you know, getting blood is just like getting, you know, I don't know, a rare steak. You could survive on animals, or you could, you know, steal from the hospital. You could do things that won't have you be the monster that crawls around your head. He is still in the denial phase of grief of his own death, and his only brightness, his only glimpse that there's a chance, there's a shot, there's an option, there's a 1 in 100 million chance that he will not be as every other kindred, was beheaded before him, and he's been forced to drink her vitae. There's a succinct balancing of the scales there, yet there's also an increased monstrousness to it. It is both fair that punishment needed to be meted, and somehow excessively cruel, because he's not just fighting his beast, he's being killed by his hope that he was not the sort of being that would do exactly as he's doing now, gagging to breathe as his beast, and he laps at the blood of his once potentially immortal love.
Just those concepts floating about the thoughts of the kindred there. This starts dredging up old and terrible memories of the events immediately prior unto being allowed to join the illustrious clan La Sombra and their traditions. In this moment where poor Dove out there is losing just about everything that he held on to for any kind of safety and sanity and clear thought, very much reminds Jazmin of having everything taken away from her just before being forced to drag it back with tooth and claw and whatever else she could use. There's a spark of small hope that maybe, just maybe, the prince being the epitome of La Sombra that she is, this is an attempt to teach a lesson, rather than to them only, but also to Dove, so that he might claw back and drag back to himself some meaning in life, or at least in this unlife, now that effectively it's all been taken from him. Oh, was Dove the female?
Yes.
Oh, I am a fucking idiot.
Not quite, but we understood who you meant. We understand that you are, in fact, looking and speaking of Marcello. We understand that Marcello's pain and suffering with being forced to, well, drink down and choke on his love, hope, and misunderstanding as to what sort of monster he is.
Thank you for the correction, Ernie. Although I suppose now they are one entity anyways, so next time we see Marcello, let's call him Dove, and it'll be great. Alright, now, back to the sea.
I was thinking the same thing, actually, but that's neither here nor there.
Alright. Does anybody have a vehicle here, or do you think that they'll loan us one?
Well, let me pose a question to you.
All right.
Do you really want to be indebted to the prince?
Well, there's actually a kind of a double-edged sword to the whole thing about debt. The more that you owe somebody, sure, yeah, the more that you are indebted to them, and the more that you're practically a servant unto them, but also the more reason they have to keep you alive.
Or the other end of the coin, the more they can use you and take away from you. But choice is yours.
Yeah, I've been down the bottom of that barrel, trust me. But optimism is optimism. So, do you got an idea?
Personally, I was thinking we can get a cab because there is a yellow cab here.
That did seem out of place. Do you think that was specifically put there for us?
We can find out.
Yeah, that did feel really out of place. All right, well, let's go give it a shot and see if the cab driver just so happened to be waiting on us.
Into the cab.
All right, we'll head back inside and make our way out there, I guess.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna head to the cab, see if it's empty, and if it's not empty, go back into the party, and then try to find the person who drives the cab. All right.
Not being too interested in the walk, turn around, walk, turn around, walk. Jazmin's just gonna probably hang out in the entryway until Mirella figures out exactly what the fuck is happening and whether or not they do have a ride.
I just want them to open the door some more.
You're such a bitch.
I just have a quick question. While all of that discussion was going on, was the prince still outside watching them? Or had the prince already gone back inside, expecting that they would watch?
The prince entered back inside and closed the door behind her, leaving you all to watch.
Understood. The whole time that thing was going on, Trish kind of just stood there quietly watching the whole thing because Trish is very much composed and resolved. And it's like, that sucks, but it's not happening to me, so we're good.
No, but it's happening to your coterie mate. And no.
Don't get caught. Rule number 1, don't get caught.
Exactly. And here's the thing. With Trisha's already displayed understanding of etiquette and streetwise and the way that Kindred society is built upon these insular tribes, the Camarilla, the Anarchs, the Sabat, the Ashira, the many courts of the One Kwai, all of these tribes, all of these organizations, there is a hierarchy and a simple understanding. Blood in and blood out. You are what you've been accepted into. And you represent them as much as they represent you to others not in your particular tribe, but in your particular organization. And even though you all are part of the Grand Bayou La Batre area, you all are also recognized and understood as coterie. Now, most coteries everywhere else in the world are teams of kindred, groups of kindred bound together for a particular task, whether that was been assigned to them or just like minds. Here in the South, that ain't the case. You are your family, and your family is you. And that understanding extends to the idea of coterie. It's not just a freshly embraced fool getting his comeuppance. It is not just a 30-year-old, 3-decade-year-old kindred meeting their just due. Those are 2 members of your coterie who represented you all to the kindred community at large. Those are 2 members of your tribe who've represented you all as ne'er-do-well fools. It'd be hard to ignore the glaring flag that is being waved right there. if the news reached the prince's ear, having them already ready to act, who else has heard? Who else understands that you all are a group of young ne'er-do-well fools out to ruin yourselves and the prince's hospitality? Who else knows that you all are all but meat for the picking, because you keep what you kill? And while you shouldn't do a thing, doesn't mean you won't do a thing, provided you can get away with it.
Trish, you look like you're a little bit lost in thought.
I'm just thinking about the fact that if they got caught up, people know we were with them. So what are they thinking we doing?
Well, I imagine that if we get this job done for the prince, I mean, if we get it done well, it might help to alleviate that stain a little bit, I guess. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how this whole thing works.
You can put water over pen, but the pen's still on the paper.
Well, yeah, but there are ways to get ink out of paper, right?
And destroy the paper?
Yeah! Oh, wait a second. No, that's a horrible implication. No!
Personally, I kind of took it as kind of a mild affront to our coterie as a whole. Yes, they did mess up. Yes, they got punished. But if you look at it at a wider view, the fact that she did this means that everyone else can be thinking how close can they get to us and do the same thing without incurring her wrath, which obviously, because she did it, she don't think very highly of us in general. Just a thought.
I mean, I would hope that's not the case. If anything, it just puts a hell of a lot more rush on us getting this job done good and well. Because if we are on the prince's bad side, it's a very, very important thing that we fix that. And, at the very least...
The blade is sharp, so it only hurt a moment. She says with quite dead eyes.
We kind of did say to do that, didn't we? I mean, not exactly that, but she asked us our opinion, and we told her basically to do that. Well, except for what happened to poor Marcello. That's that's definitely what you told her to do.
Yes, but I like cruelty for cruelty's sake, so what else you want?
I suppose that has its merits. Well, I mean, Trish, you know this whole game a lot better than I do. Is there would doing this gig even really help our public image, or am I going to have to? Oh no! Wait, this is perfect. It just ignore me. How do we fix this?
Well, for now, we gotta do what we promised to do.
TV?
I'm sorry, you both talked at the same time, and I am unfortunately a little bit scatterbrained. What?
First, we probably just have to do what we promised to do, because anytime you break your promise, it doesn't help how you stand in things, obviously.
All right.
So.
Yeah, okay, cool. That works. And what were you saying?
I said perhaps we should go and get the tape and be done with it. Then we can go about our lives until the next time she rings the bell.
Yeah, I'm figuring that if the image put out there is that, our group tends to not do what the prince says and is thusly going to get killed for it, the best thing we could do is represent ourselves as people that are going to do what the prince says and are not going to be killed for it.
Or make ourselves indispensable to the prince. That's always a good option.
Yeah.
I take it that we are having this conversation as we are heading towards the parking lot, so that we're not wasting time.
I was hoping so as well.
So you guys are walking and talking.
If that's what they're for, that's what they're for.
That means that you all are outside in the parking area where the vehicles who've been parked by the valets are. Means that you all have walked through the party, out the door, past the footmen who are operating as housemen, into the open night. Now, Kindred are naturally paranoid. They are ridiculously paranoid at nearly every moment of the day, especially when they are dead to the world, when the beast has more purchase on their bodies than their minds. So as you all near the taxi, your radars, even with you all focused on the conversation, is pinging. Things moving too close, things are, anything that stands out, anything that's catching the eye. And nothing does until you get to the cab. All the other vehicles, well, most of the other vehicles have a level of tint on the windows. Most of the other vehicles clearly cost an ungodly amount of funds just to keep operational. The taxi, however, is another story entirely. It is a Chevrolet wide body, steel constructed monstrosity. It has been washed and cared for. It's waxed. There's no dust on it. The wheels, the tires that you can see are made for off-road. It has functional and still in place, honest to goodness hubcaps. Not the plastic stuff that you've seen on the cars these days, but actual honest to goodness chromed hubcaps. The interior, because of the non-tinted windows, is clearly visible. It has a full bench seat in the rear, the sort that makes it clear that it's easier to clean. It's not there solely for comfort because you're not expected to be there for too long. The front is a little more comfortable. It still is a full bench seat, door to door. And as you stare into the window looking for signs of life, it is clear that this is not anywhere near a kit. This is not a fiberglass over good old-fashioned actual steel constructed vehicle. This is the vehicle because the windows have an actual handle to roll the window down. There's no power anything in the interior of this car.
Guys, why does it seem like I'm staring at a lot of money?
I was perhaps thinking that someone can't be around electronics because this car is so old. The only thing that's electronic is their phone in their pocket.
I mean, yeah, that's a thing. That is a thing, but... well, let's, is the driver in?
Looking left, right, and center, it is clear that the vehicle is here by itself.
Is there like an attendant nearby that we could potentially ask?
There's a person moving between the cars, cigarette in hand. Hey, motherfuckers, I can't fucking believe it. Are you fucking serious? Fucking hell. My God.
Hello.
Huh? Wait, what? Why are you?
Hi.
Are you guys part of the help? Why are you dressed like this?
We're not part of the help, but thank you for being the second person to mention that. No, we were wondering. We're here to do a job. I suppose we are part of the help. We're here to do a job for the owner. I was wondering if she specifically denoted setting aside a potential vehicle for us, or a ride out of here, or if we are to simply walk.
No way that bitch is gonna have you walk.
All right, lovely. Well, thank you for letting me know. Also, probably best to watch your tongue.
Why the fuck would I do that? I don't care about some fixer bitch lined up with the mayor. The mayor's on his way out anyway.
Are we
a cab?
How many people are out here?
4. This far out into the parking area, there's just 4. There's you 3 and him. Why would I call you a fucking cab? There's one right there.
Who's the driver of said cab that's right here? She looked at him with disdain.
Well, clearly you're just as bad as this bitch that's throwing this fucking shindig. How do you not know fucking Hollywood Bob's car? How the fuck don't you know me, fucking Hollywood Bob? The fuck? And why are you looking at my car and asking me to call you a cab? Are you some fucking comedian?
I think I'm quite amusing personally, but that just could be me. So, Hollywood, it is Hollywood Bob, right? Can we go back? Can you drive us back to our homes?
I was thinking more he drives us to the cemetery.
The fuck?
We can do that as well.
Are you like those freaky girls from that movie, The Covenant?
I'm certain I can enact being someone from a very specific movie if things don't go a little bit different. So, no, we're not from the Covenant. We have a job to do near a cemetery, and it would be lovely if you'd be willing to drop us off near there.
Near a cemetery? What job are you fucking doing in a cemetery?
There's quite a few jobs.
What? No, what? Cut that out. Suffice to say, business is business, and unfortunately our business requires a little bit of being near a cemetery.
You know, it's a fucking gimmick. I'm not really a cab driver, right?
Well, would you be willing to play along to your role just this once?
Why would I do that? What's in it for me?
Money?
You think I'm fucking broke? I don't care what the mayor fucking says. I'm still gonna keep bringing TV shows and commercials to our fucking city. I don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna stand down so we can start supporting local artists. Fuck local artists. And God knows I've done enough of that. I don't fucking need your money, and I don't need their fucking pity.
That's true. Now, about this cab ride, though.
Mirella, you wouldn't mind, would you? Mirella?
Are you fucking serious?
Of course not.
Oh, okay, cool. Hollywood Bob isn't a kindred of renown, is he?
No, he's just a local agent who has managed to work as executive producer on about 60% of the films, TVs, commercials, and other related industries such as music videos that have come through the area.
Lovely. Okay. This guy really does feel like he's acting.
I have a job for you. Do you think you can pull off the role? Hollywood.
What the fuck are you talking about? I'm not a goddamn actor. I do the... You know what? Just get the fuck out of the way. And he moves to the driver's door and pulls the keys out of his pocket.
Okay. Just... Alright, that's... The thing is, Ernie, okay, I do have seduction. I have a lot of dice in seduction. But I don't know if I necessarily feel... Alright. How about this? You don't necessarily care for money. That's perfectly fine. You did, on the other hand, mention something else that you have done a lot of, and I would be willing to give that in exchange, she says, kind of getting closer and making physical contact in order to kind of give the impression. How about this? I give you a ride, you give us a ride.
That might be fun and all, Jazz, but he's already got the keys. He's about to give us a ride to the cemetery. Right, Hollywood?
I don't remember him saying anything like that, but if that's the case, then yeah, I would absolutely love to skip the first part of that.
So, in Mirella's counter seduction, you stop trying to seduce him.
Effectively, because I had a plan going, and Mirella was like, "Your plan is dumb."
All right. No need to roll. Your
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate, but it's how it plays out.
He gives you a very unmanly shove. Because a man would not generally assault another if they didn't have to, and your touch was as light as a butterfly's kiss. It wasn't something that was designed to harm or hurt him. So it is very unbecoming of him to give you a hard shove. No, don't touch me!
Alright, goddammit, Mirella, you're the one that fucked this up. Handle it, get the keys.
So, Hollywood, ready for that, you ready to take us to the cemetery yet?
What the fuck is wrong with you bitches? And he throws the widest, wildest left hook.
Robert pushes his hand out of the way casually. Don't do that. Don't be that guy, Hollywood.
All right. Well, that's the case. Would you be so kind as go ahead and roll your strength plus athletics, and I will roll his actual attack there. He's, he's riled up. You guys are giving him a headache. He's, behind the 8 ball, and no one is working with him. And this party where everyone's supposed to be networking and getting something for the community, he's walking out with nothing. There's enough of that. This idiotic Southern politics bullshit. He's had enough of it. He's brought billions to this area. Hollywood is a friend of his, and you just fuck these weird psycho witch chicks from the 90s are trying to get him to drive them somewhere. What the hell? How dare they?
Honestly, my impression was to pull my fucking knife like 15 fucking minutes ago. But goddammit, I tried not to be violent.
Sometimes violence is good, but not in this case.
Everything was going fine. Oh, Lord Almighty.
Alright, I just wanted to add, Trisha's kind of like out of the way, but Trisha's going to try to catch his gaze and freeze him in place with Eyes of the Serpent.
I rolled in dice here 1, in case you're wondering.
We're live playing, just like earlier. You're always going elsewhere. Roll in live play dice, please.
Fine, but can I keep that success?
What's success?
And roll
It didn't happen in live
1.
play. It didn't happen.
Dang it. Fine.
Yeah, I know. What a shame.
Alright,
This is what you get for cock blocking my social check.
Are we at Hunger 1 currently?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, they both rolled 3.
Does he get an extra? Am I trying to help?
No, you're too far away, and eyes of the serpent means you need to get right in his face and hold his gaze. So you kind of need him to be successful so you can slide in and actually catch his gaze by staying in front of him, because that means while he doesn't move, you don't move, and you get a chance to hold him still. But in the middle of action, which this is, he's had enough of you freaky witches, like from some 90s TV show movie. You know, remember The Covenant? With those 3 who were the witty ones, Alva and San Diego, with the grandmother who was a witch, and there was a prophecy about them turning 18 and gaining their powers. You know, The Covenant.
Yeah, no, I've watched it and I quite enjoy the movie. Sad to say.
So, several things happen at once that they typically do.
Defender? Okay.
So several things happen at once. He is freaked out. He's behind the 8 ball. It's clear that he's stressed. And it's clear that, well, he's not the sort that would normally just go along with, you know, as much shit as he talks. He's probably had more whiskey nights than he cares to put a finger on. And this is another night of frustration, and he's probably heading home to his gallon of cheaply purchased whiskey that he puts into a very nice decanter so that he can pour from a very nice decanter and feel better about himself. However, along the way, he has to dispatch these vile villains accosting him, and so he throws a shot. It shouldn't hit. It should at best bump against the shoulder and tumble off into the darkness, like all of his hopes and dreams. There's something incredibly special about tonight that he's clearly unaware of, and his punch connects. The 3rd punch in his entire life that he's ever thrown where he wasn't punching a stuntman. The 3rd punch in his life where he meant violence. The 3rd punch in his life where he had every intention. He lined up the shot mentally and saw himself punching through the goal. In his head, Mirella's face explodes, her jaw flying across with spittle and teeth coating the front side of his cab. In reality, it's just a nice solid left. And she feels it. Mirella is not a combatant, not in the typical sense. She is a gladiator in a suit, as the saying goes. However, pain is not something that she has grown unaccustomed to. Over the course of her life, there have been many moments of pain. This is barely in the top 100, but it's still an affront because it hurts not her physicality, but her sense of self and pride. He shouldn't have been able to connect. She misjudged the timing. And that fist that she just missed, that just grazed past her outstretched palm as she swatted at it to knock it away, is the injury to the insult. Because how dare someone who's on the failing, declining side of anything put hands on her? Would you be so kind as to mark 1 superficial on your health tracker?
Done. Carla looks at him. Her eyes are completely dead. As much as I enjoyed that, are we gonna go to the cemetery now?
Just from behind her. Mirella, I was telling you to knock him the fuck out!
Okay, I could do that if you really want me to. Her eyes are just really cold. She looks back at Bob. So, Bob, do you want to do this the easy way or the hard way?
You can't believe that you're still standing. That's the third time that he's actually successfully connected. You should be obliterated. You should be not a factor. Now, while all of this is happening, Trish, you had an intention. You had your gaze going. Are you closing the dishes and actually making eye contact with him, or are you still staying in the distance? Because no skin in the game means that you're not going to be effective with it.
Oh no, she got closer. While he's distracted about the hit not doing what it's supposed to, she just kind of pops up between him and Mirella and connects eyes with him.
And don't have my nose for Eyes of the Serpent up. What's the system for it? Would you be so kind?
I think it's something in presence. I don't know what the other half of that is. I just saw it was available on the page.
It's in the Anarch book. Give me a second. I can pull it up for us.
There you go.
Why is unfortunately fucking Hollywood Bob turning into our unlock pickable door? Come on, girls, we're better than this.
Oh, no worries. I'm gonna strangle Bob a little bit later.
I was thinking strangle Bob a little bit now, but oh, fuck,
she's doing something. And I'll strangle Bob.
Okay, so the disciplines are going to be in... Where the fuck's the page? It is going to be page 185 of the Anarch book. Beautiful! Moving my way on down.
Making my way downtown, walking fast.
Ooh, that was some flashy lightning right there. Alrighty. So it is going to be a resistance of... Oh no, okay, against mortals it just happens. Yeah, the victim can escape paralysis on any turn after the first by spending a point of willpower. But it requires maintained eye contact, and the victim is frozen in place.
Thank you.
Unless they suffer damage.
That's the system I was looking for. So, standing, making contact with Bob. Good old Bob. Holding him and yourself completely still. Trish. Is there anything you would be on the lookout for? Anything that you would attempt to, I don't know, move around for? Is there anything that would cause you to maneuver in this moment or leave this space? Because they're still talking. Mirella and Jazmin are still talking. They're still having a moment. Is there anything that would cause you to drop what you're doing to him?
Being attacked by either somebody else or shot at or something that would need to I need to get out of the way.
So you're standing there still in the middle of this lovely warm and yet surprisingly cold Alabama winter night. You and Bob locked in a dance, a spiral, while your minds are moving and swirling. Your bodies are stock, stone, still. You two are statues left after Medusa's lunch date. And while that's happening, and while that is taking place, Jazmin, Mirella.
Open the trunk Take his keys and open the trunk. Look for anything that we can use to restrain good old Bob.
Why not just put him in the trunk? I'm pretty sure being in a trunk is a decently good restraint.
I forget which year car they put the lock. Well, no, it wouldn't be in this one. Yeah, put good old Bob in the trunk. Looking around, making sure no one is around us right now. No one came out of the party since we started this interaction or anything like that. And then in the trunk he goes.
Yeah, he's a sleazy Hollywood exec with a custom car. I doubt that he'd want anyone that he put in the trunk getting out of the trunk. I doubt that anyone he puts in the trunk is still alive.
Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll 2 things for me? First, your wits plus awareness. Standard DC. The second thing I need you to roll is strength plus brawl, because that grappling is an attack.
Forcibly moved, that breaks eyes.
Hence the reason why I was looking for a restraint. 5.
We're kindred, right. Baby. We are the restraint.
5. Alright, so let's see. Give me a second, because I'm looking for the room where we can actually do the whole dice rolling. Give me 1 second.
It's right above us. Lobby. It's a life play dice.
Life play dice?
Yeah.
Perfect.
There you go. Nobu with the mountainous smack of the enter button.
Here we go.
There you go. Feel free to throw some.
Woohoo! And yeah, you are at the prince's private mansion in the middle of nowhere. Only a paranoid despot would actually have guards present, would have people watching the perimeter, keeping an eye on the vehicles, many of which are actually quite valuable. You expect a theater.
That's what I thought.
You expect a theater of security. You expect roving guards dressed in white shirts, dark ties, and dark slacks, who are clearly just out of high school and burgeoning into early adulthood, and not seeing those clear signs of the theater of security. Most would call that enough. There's no one visible. It'll be fine. But as you pause, paranoidly looking around, scanning the tops of cars and looking towards the tree line and turning back and looking towards the prince's abode, you realize there's very distinctly carved into the folds of your mind what happened with Dove and Marcello. The problem being, if you put your finger on it, if you focus on the details, you didn't really see the faces of who belonged to that sword. Those leather gloved hands you remember, but you don't remember anyone's face. Hell, come to think of it, those leather gloved hands, were they really gloves? You couldn't tell any skin tone. It just seemed like darkness itself was holding them. You are positive in your paranoid little brain that you are currently being watched, that this is being cataloged, this is being saved somewhere. So yeah, your second action, go ahead and make that. It's okay, let's go ahead and roll your strength plus brawl for me, please. And the reason why, Trish, the question was asked, what would cause you to move? Because here's the thing. There's no way that of all the subtle light touches of being able to mesmerize someone with your aura, that this is not an obvious display to the victim. Your eyes swirl and move and take on a serpentine look for them. There's nothing to erase their memory. There's nothing to pull it from their head. The moment you do so to a mortal or even another kindred, they know that they stared into your snake-like eyes and lost the ability to move. They were so fascinated with the terror that stirred up in them, the adoration that stirred up in them, that they couldn't do anything. They lost control of their limbs. So everything's fine and good. And as you stated, unless actually acted on, you wouldn't break contact. And that makes a huge difference as Mirella rose their strength and brawl, so that we can see what Bob is working against. Because the moment she puts his hand on, oh shit! And the swinging begins, just as wild as that glorious Rocky-like left hand, just as wild as it would be if you stared into oblivion and realized that all of the fairy tales that your great aunt told you were true. Because people's eyes don't turn to snakes' eyes. And if you land a nice square left cross, someone's supposed to at least move. They're supposed to drop. And after working on that gloriously successful movie, you know, The Covenant with the Three Witches from San Francisco, and they had their nightlighter and they made their kids, and there was a prophecy about them turning 18 and getting their powers, and then they had to do a sacrifice, otherwise they couldn't hold on to the power. And well, you know, it was his claim to fame. It was his movie. The reason why he started becoming known as Hollywood Bob. It was a great movie, The Covenant, with those three girls in it.
So, was it a very... Is Jazmin able to see this supernatural display?
Yes. Trish popped up under and between Mirella and Bob, locked eyes with Bob, and Bob froze as if he was stone still. So too did Trish. And we're still waiting on Mirella's strength and brawl.
Yep, Mirella. Mirella, you put that in lobby no mic. Alright, well, Mirella did roll.
Yeah, I rolled in lobby no mic, but
No.
all of the other dice rolls disappeared.
Yeah, that's because live play dice is where we're rolling.
Ah, fair.
And good old wild haymaker Bob, with his glorious huge amount of dice from all of his years of being on the rough tumble streets of Bayou La Batre. It's, there's bad parts of the bayou, and he, does everything he can to stay in shape and stay wily. He loses one die, so that for attacking 2 targets at once. And the difficulty is... Uh-oh. Oh, wrong. There we go. Come on.
God damn it.
You grab him and he goes absolutely berserk. It's like holding on to a well sugared up toddler who does not want to go into a bath and is determined no matter what, no matter who, they will get out of that bath. So first it comes to pleading, in his case the fist. Second comes the crying, when in his case the legs flinging and kicking and doing everything he can to keep away from the whatever you're trying to pull him towards, and end up falling on the ground. Because remember, he had his keys in his hand and now they're not there. What the hell? Oh my God, you took them out of his hands. You moved so and he's rambling and mumbling and muttering and beginning to raise his voice. There is some part of him that has just enough foolish pride to believe men don't yell, men don't scream, men don't call for help. But you can see those walls of sexism breaking down by the second as he swings and kicks and doesn't seem to have much effect because, well, yeah, that's outcome of 1. So both Trish and Mirella take a punch and a boot. In Trisha's case, unfortunately, the boot lands in the center of her chest as she's falling down and fighting away. You take 1 total superficial. Oh God! The fucking witch is real! Get the fuck away! Ah!
Alright,
I slide a hand over his mouth to muffle him. He's going in his trunk.
So now it's a wrestling match. It is Mirella, a medium weight, a welterweight wrestler, versus Hollywood Bob, a heavyweight champion of producing movies with money that is not his own. A heavyweight champion of spending far too many nights swimming around the bottom of a bottle. A heavyweight champ when it comes to pissing away what little money you have on the pipe dream of booking and billing more. Making just enough to fail at making money. Hollywood Bob, the undisputed champion of the Taxi League of Wrestling, scrabbling and fighting with his all, because all of those hallucinations from the drink and from the drugging, from the too little sleep and too many activities, the busyness for busyness' sake, the looking as if he's making far more money than he is, have brought him to this point. Trish, you were kicked. Mirella, you were all but open-handed slap because he still doesn't quite know how to make a real fist. And Jazmin, you're watching your co members wrestle with Hollywood Bob. He is the, award-winning executive producer of such well-known hits as Not the Daddy and several public access Lifetime-esque movies about the holidays. And he did book, get the talent here for, Pirates of the Caribbean. He did to get the initial contracts started. He got people interested. And then he's booked several commercials. Do you remember that one Bounty commercial where, they're cleaning up the instead of using that unreal blue liquid there where they use the actual red liquid, it only aired like 3 or 4 times before people start complaining that it looked like they were picking up blood. But he did do that. That was him. And then there was the judge show where the judge got hit by his own mic when the person tried to storm the bench. It was only taken off the air after 2 shows, but it was you know, it was must-watch TV.
Oh, dear fucking God. Alright, since this seems to be going a direction, I'll just kind of like, while she's not actually hurting him, she's just grappling him right now, and the other one is basically just getting kicked in the fucking chest. I'll just kind of try and get closer to where you can hear me, but like, Mr. Bob, Mr. Hollywood Bob, please relax. We're just doing a scene. This is a scene. We're attempting to sell you a movie. There's a camera over there. Please calm down. Can you, Mirella, let him go. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem that the pitch went as well as we thought it would.
Well, I'll let him go. Alright, we can do it that way.
And,
Jazmin says that because Trish gets up and she was about to have all intentions of laying hands on him, but once Jazmin says that, she kind of pauses and just looks at the both of them.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that this turned out the way it did. The way it did. We knew you were in town, and you know we do indie films, and we were really hoping to sell you on this idea that we had, this script, and you know, it was kind of, you got it on the money. It was a very Covenant-based movie. I'm sorry. Do you think we still have a chance, or have we screwed the pooch on this one?
Would you be so kind as go ahead and roll your charisma plus subterfuge versus his composure and insight?
I am gonna fucking rouse on this, because for fuck's sake, people. Let me see. Alright, that's gonna be a success. Bueno. Against difficulty 4, correct?
Yes.
That is a 6 success critical. Oh, no, 10 success critical with a margin of 6.
The fuck did you rouse for?
Because I need 0 chances of this going terribly. I mean, I suppose a messy crit would have made it. I didn't consider a messy crit.
He's a pussy.
Fuck you, Laz. You're not even here.
There is...
Yeah, he's drinking his love. Don't you know? Don't you remember?
There is a hilarity inherent as the bruises of Mirella's fingers on his jawline, because he was missing his mouth, and from the initial grab out of his frozen hypnotic state to him mouth open, unable to actually formulate whatever brain cells are bumping into each other to try to form a full-fledged sentence. And even with him on the ground, even with the wet, chilled dew of this perfectly manicured lawn where these part, where the grass stains you know are heinous, the fact that they've even managed to burnish themselves into the leather of his jacket, there's a switch that is actually thrown. The tears of him seeing his life flashing before his eyes and not being worthy enough to even be, you know, a trailer for a trailer are still flowing. But suddenly, instead of being the smoking wretch and wrecked ruin of a man whose dreams are crashing down around him, the sleaze that you feel is palpable. Your skin feels oily, because even in a wretched state that he is in, you feel as if he's suddenly gone to that old trope of the casting couch. Still stained and fearing for his life, the tears still falling. you can tell that he's looking you all down to up and imagining how far or how much you are willing to go for superstardom. You guys did all of this. Yeah. So you guys purposely tried to get me like the punk show. Yeah, no. I had that feeling. That's kind of where I was. Like going, like, the tears are believable, right? Not many people that can cry on demand.
Yeah, of course. With the quality of films you've been involved in, it's actually very comforting to see that you've got some acting skills yourself. Yeah, we figured that we'd have to go this far in order to convince someone with a very discerning eye such as yourself. But
So are those contacts that you put in so quick? The dark one. Were those contacts, or are you able to roll your eyes up in your head? Hey.
Trish grins at him. Yeah. I could do that eye thing, and she rolls her eyes up in her head, looking at the back, while keeping her eyes open.
Oh yeah, don't do that. The camera doesn't like that. That's freaky. Maybe if we can get you maybe a horror show or something. You, Joanna man, help me up.
I could do a horror movie if you like.
Oh, Mirella, cut that out. He knows what's best for each of us. He's done a lot of films. I told you about him.
No, we got some prosthesis. We can, put you on one of those chastity belts and have the prosthesis. It'll fool everyone. I hear it's big in Japan. Here, come on, help me out. Come on, give me a hand.
Help the man up, Mirella.
She helps him up, lifts him, makes it look from the outside like she's straining, but she just lifts him up.
You're pretty strong. I was, I was trying to keep you from falling, and I lost my balance. And he immediately takes out a cigarette and starts lighting up. Okay. So you guys are normally I don't have castings, and he starts trying to smooth his hair with his left hand as he's inhaling with his right, and you can feel his chest puffing, drawing in the air all around him. In his eyes, you've all shrunk by 1.5 feet and gained several other endowments larger than your body should be able to withstand. And he inhales. So I don't need to go to whatever scene you guys prepared at the cemetery, but being as I'm leaving the party, you guys can roll with me, and then we can talk about some of the places I might be able to get you into. There are certain positions that,
oh God,
I'm sure you'd be perfect for, and your willingness to go this far says a lot about your prospects. You kind of got to be willing to give it your all and put it all out there. You just go for it. Sometimes it may seem like it's a little sketch, but Hollywood's Hollywood, and nothing's really ever sketch unless, of course, it doesn't pan out. So I can get you where you need to be, but I'm gonna need, I need to maybe get a reel going, because this was great, but there's no cameras out here. So I have a couple of cameras at my office. We'll get a couple of things set up, get you in the right positions, show your best sides, and get these onto my buddies out there in the business. And I'm sure it won't take more than maybe a week or two to get something that's really perfect for you guys. So have you guys acted before? And he where's my key? Oh, hey, give me the key from the trunk. Come on.
And just kind of like the very naive, like willing to work for exposure type, nodding along with his words as she kind of takes the key from Mirella and hands it to him.
All right, so you cute one, you right up front. You dark girl and Joanna, you get in the back.
All right, whatever you say, mister. And just pop into the
I get in back in the seat behind the driver's seat.
I hate myself.
Trish slides in the back of to Mirella and just kind of gives her that look. Like, I can't believe we're going along with this shit.
Mirella looks at her like, yeah, this is rough.
It just like before Mr. Hollywood gets in, just like that moment where the glass and the door and the window kind of breaks the sound, just kind of leans back and looks at the two of them, and I can't believe the fucking 2-year-old is having to salvage this situation.
You're gonna keep calling me the dark one. Since when the fuck am I dark?
You are dark as long as we need this fucking ride. And then just kind of sits back in the front like that whole very irritated exchange never happened.
What takes him so long is that he actually remembers that his trunk is open, and so he goes and closes the trunk, but not before removing a roughly 2-inch by 6-inch cylindrical container. And while you, like, part of your mind is thinking, like, he's definitely not going to try to drug all three of us, and doesn't realize that shit doesn't work. You see him pause just before he gets in the car and gives himself a bath in this body spray that's not even Axe. The actual name of the body spray is Hammer. And he sprays himself first, just his head, and that's okay. You think, okay, maybe you probably should move that around and get it out. It's a body spray, it's not a hairspray. Until you realize that he doesn't stop. He sprays in circular motions from his head down over his shoulders, across his chest. He opens his jacket and sprays the inside of it enough that you are sure that it's now wet. Does the other side. It makes him way over the entirety of his body. By the time he reaches, you know he's gonna stop when he gets to the pants, because who sprays body spray on their clothes, but who sprays, more importantly, body spray on their pants? He does not stop. He reaches his shoes, his boots, sprays them until they're no longer dull. They're nice and shiny with the moisture from this body spray, and gives it a quick shake. And you realize he's not done yet, because he works his way back up, opens his jeans, he pulls the belt out just enough to get the nozzle of the spray, and gives it a good stiff long blast, and then shakes it again. You clearly that he's trying to measure how much is left was inside, and he opens his mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he tosses the empty can over his shoulder before getting in.
Yeah, during this marvelous display, there is this slowly growing look of despair and horror of, I almost had a master's degree in the medical field, and here I am now.
Before just looks casually like she's thinking in her own head. She's just smiling. Essentially.
As he kind of gets in, just a very quick swap from that over to happy, cheery, chipper, naive.
Trish is practically laying in Mirella's lap, just cackling her ass off, because just the absurdity of it all is too much.
Does anyone have heightened senses?
Thankfully, no. Although I can see ghosts, if that fucking matters.
It really doesn't, save that if you all had heightened senses, you would be at a complete disadvantage inside this car, because there's no way that the scent of 99-cent body spray is not punching you in all of your olfactory senses. If you were alive, your eyes would be watering. If you were alive, your ears would be ringing from how much body spray he has sprayed on himself.
Fuck, but little did we know, Hollywood Bob is actually a hunter, and this is a very well-known hunting tactic. Override their senses with axe body spray.
Bloodness away.
Well, Mr. Hollywood Bob, is there a location near there on the way that we could drop my friends off at? I'm more than happy to go and get everything scheduled while they clean up back at the cemetery. Since you said you weren't going to be there, we did have a few things that we wanted to show you. But you're the master of your time, and we'd hate to impose.
Oh, no, it's fine. I got more than enough to go. This is more than enough opportunity of going on camera for all three of you guys. I mean, this is going to be great for you. Like, it will increase your exposure. And if you're as talented, as dedicated as that little scene you all tried to put on, I am sure that I can land you guys a gig. I probably have you guys a job tomorrow, depending on how enthusiastic you all are on camera, how well you sell yourselves. Because while I would love to give each and every last one of you a job if I could, I merely get the people that give you the jobs to notice you. So we're gonna go back to my place. I'm gonna set up a couple of cameras. We're gonna do a few cold reads, and whatever you guys are comfortable with. And I'm gonna get that in front of producers and you stand to make anywhere from easily, even here just on the local scene, anywhere from $500 to $1,000 per shoot. Sometimes more, based on how much you impress them with this opening video that we're gonna make.
All right, that sounds awesome. Yeah, college expenses have been pretty hard on us. So that amount of money is great. It's amazing, in fact. Where exactly is your place? Where's the shoot happening?
Oh yeah, don't worry about that. I got a little place. We can use my temporary office. I'm dealing with a few things, but luckily, Father McConnell down at First Baptist Church lets me, he allows me to rent a little space there for a backup office. Because, it's amazing how much space you run out of. I have so many awards and movie posters from the movies that I've helped produce and commercials that I've helped get together that I'm running out of space in my main office to do these scenes. But luckily, Father McConnell allows me to keep a few things here and have a little office there behind the church where the rectory normally was. But this, he doesn't use the space anymore. And well, I was always a good choir boy. I served our Lord and Savior, I wouldn't know, pretty much my entire youth. I kind of aged out. I was really tall for my age. I was 13, 14 when the last time I didn't get a chance to serve the Father. But, because of our past history, he's willing to bag my play and support me whenever he can. Because, he really took us under his wing. He taught us the real meaning of devotion and service. And you know what they say, like, you gotta give until it hurts if you want to get anything back. And you don't do it because you can potentially get something back. You do it to help the other person. No matter, some things may seem a little weird at first, but if you give yourself over to the moment, it'll be all fine. So, like, I know you three are clearly dedicated to this craft of ours, so I'm sure you're willing to give as much as is needed for us all to get where we need to be with this scene. Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but over the last 100 or so years of Hollywood, the big thing that catches the producer's eye, and he goes into detail about the movies that have won the Oscar and how you don't have to win the Oscar to technically win the Oscar. Like, working is more important than not. And it's only as you drive past the McDonald's leading back into Bayou La Batre that you realize, yeah, he wasn't lying. You guys are definitely headed towards the church. It's one of the major landmarks, and it is in the almost exact opposite direction of the cemetery. So as you all are easing down the coastal connection and getting ready to make that right-hand turn, because you see Downey up ahead, so you know you're almost there, and you turn off onto the church's driveway and realize that,
Is anyone around?
this is going down.
Okay, I'll just
Is
kind of.
anyone around us right now?
Yeah, you four in the car,
Right.
in the taxi.
I mean, outside. Is anyone like milling about at night?
No, it's not this. There are tons of cars going up and down 188. However, even with that level of activity, once you cross into the church's parking lot, there's really nothing going on. It's not like there's a fish fry or bingo or anything that's keeping the church open and the lights on. There are a few lights on in the tower there at the front of the church where the bell is supposed to be, but there's no bell there. Everything's electronic. There's just a speaker there now. And there's a few lights on in the back portion of the church, but you guys drive past the church to the end of the driveway.
Okay.
Is it dark where we are?
No more darker than usual. He points to the building that serves as a directory. That's my office there. Well, it's a lot nicer than it looks on the outside. Trust me, it's good. It's a good backup office. You guys are, you have more than enough space. I even got a couple of, not that we need them, but I have a couple of air mattresses already blown up that we could use. Maybe we could do a boat scene. You guys are bouncing at the beach or what have you. I'm thinking
That sounds like fun.
So just kind of like as he's rambling on about this stuff, just kind of like catches his forearm in my hand and gets his attention on me and be like, well, you mentioned it, and I just want to reassure you, Mr. Hollywood, we are. And gets a little bit closer and a little bit closer as she's speaking and takes on that sultry tone. We are very willing to give everything that we can in order to. And as she gets closer and closer, just kind of almost to the point of whispering in his ear, to give everything that we can for this. And I'm very much in agreement with you. Sometimes those of us who need to help each other, we need to give even if it hurts. And with that, she's just gonna bite down into him.
yes. All right. Well, successfully having conducted a discombobulation attack and exceeding by 6, that's more than enough to mask the opportunities for what you're doing.
All right, cool.
There is an amazing amount of inebriation in his system, and not because of booze, but for Kindred, it's the fleeting and strong feelings that he's felt, and being as he still hasn't quite come down from literally fighting for his life, as far as he believed he was fighting for his life, you realize why he used body spray. You wouldn't have needed him to use the entirety of it, but being this close and sinking thing, you realize that there's a little human pariah about him. He literally emptied a portion of his bladder in fear from what was happening. Unlike dogs, is not fear and dominance and nervousness incited. No, he was afraid for his life. And as you clamp down, there's that depressive understanding of the finality of man. There's the exaltation and happiness that it didn't happen. There is the ecstatic idea that maybe he could turn the tails. Maybe he could get his just desserts from these 3 clearly desperate women. And that melange of emotions swirling bombarding each other, cascading off the inside of his mind and heart, makes his vitae a little spicy, a little sweet. It's not quite umami. It's not quite sweet, spicy, sour, crunchy, fried. No. It's not all of the flavors of deliciousness, but it is a mix of things that typically are not a factor in her diet.
Solid. Not drinking for hunger, drinking for the fog that comes from it. You're gonna, just get him right to the point to where right before the point where it would be he needs hospital, and just kind of let him teeter there on the edge. Does he have alcohol on him?
He does not.
Okay. Just kind of looks back to the rest of them as I assume he's fucking just plastered on the floor.
He is becoming a puddle as you speak. One of the many poor, horrible aspects of the kiss, and one that you find yourself a little shameful for having provided him. Once the kiss settles in, all of the pleasure centers of the brain fire. So while that little spicy melange of all of those many different feelings are bouncing around the inside of him, he is having one of the best moments of his life. That fog that comes over him, that idea of him getting off, there is physiological proof of that on him now.
Yeah, just kind of... Girls, we're gonna agree to never speak of this again. Mirella, get the keys. We're getting out of here.
I honestly was just gonna strangle him, but that if this works for you, it's fine too. She does. She takes up the keys.
It's a hell of a lot less problematic if an individual known in any sphere of the media gets robbed for his car.
I was just gonna strangle him until he passed out. I wasn't gonna kill him or anything. Jeez.
Just kind of walking and gets in the passenger side of the car. Notices that the body spray has yet to vacate it and rolls down the fucking window. I understand what you were going to attempt to do, but I'm pretty sure, based on the display that I saw, you couldn't strangle a cat.
I could go and strangle him now if it makes you feel better.
No, it really wouldn't. Please stop. I hate the idea that he might enjoy that further.
Well, you can strangle some other part of him if you want.
Mirella,
Mirella,
I will 100% kill you.
Yes.
Let's just get this job done and get this night over with. I've seen horrible things and I've done horrible things, and I want neither of them to be in my memories. But I know that they're fucking scarred there.
Yes, you are a dirty, dirty girl. Yes, it is true.
You realize he's going to remember your face even if he doesn't remember all of what happened. So somebody might need to take care of that.
I'll take care of it later. It's better that he remembers getting his rocks off like he's never gotten before, and then we stole his car.
So
rather than
leave him by the side of the road, or we're gonna put him in the trunk?
No, this is where he lives, apparently.
We could make some very lewd photos of him and blackmail him.
I'm pretty sure that he's already got nudes out and about based on just how sleazy this gentleman is.
That's true. Or we could actually take a picture of him at the... Oh, no, that won't work.
I think it's better that we just put him in the rearview mirror, and I will deal with him later.
Fair enough.
Worst case scenario, I have to kill him later. And I'm not even sure that's worst case scenario at this point. Because that's starting to seem more and more appetizing.
While they're figuring it out, Trish is going to, carefully as she can, drag the body out and put him at his front step and just kind of prop him up.
Okay, come on! Taps the roof of the vehicle. Time to go! And I assume we all pile in and head off towards our destination?
Yes.
Alright.
Yes.
Does anyone have driving?
Yes, I do.
Oh, thank you.
The only reason why I asked, and here's the amazing thing about that. Anyone and everyone can get behind the wheel of the car. At night, and as busy as 188 is at all times of the day, getting out of the church parking lot to go head north is a bit of a chore. It's easier driving through a car than waiting for your turn to merge and make that U-turn to get back north. Or better yet, to make that left-hand turn to begin with to go back north. It is a chore, it is a labor, and while yes, it is a contact sport in Chicago, you are merging onto the American version of the Autobahn. Getting from point A to point B, if you have not gone through the entire alphabet twice, by the time that the average person gets from point A to point B, means that you're driving too damn slow. The speed limit on every expressway is a minimum of 75. If you're not doing that, people think that you're trying to cause an accident. It is go, 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 and then go more, especially when you shouldn't. Especially when there's inclement weather, especially when it's a cold Alabama winter night. So while there's not a role needed, there's just the practice aspect of actually understanding how to drive and merge in this environment. So the question is, who's driving?
3 decks to drive, but I said I was getting the passenger side, so fuck you guys.
2 decks and 3 drive.
Hey.
And Trisha's over there with like 19 dice to drive and says, oh, that's fine, you guys can do it.
No, wait.
No, I only got one drive.
Yeah, 2 decks and 1 drive.
Oh, okay, well then never mind. I suppose Jazmin's the driver. This is technically her hard-fought prize anyways.
It is. You've got a perfectly maintained and updated, waxed and washed yellow cab.
All right.
Built in the 1950s.
All right. I'm sure that Kane would be proud.
You are his star pupil.
All right. Well, yeah. Fuck it. Jazmin's driving, and we'll be heading off towards the. What was the name of the dog grooming place?
You're gonna head to the dog grooming place instead of the cemetery?
I mean, yeah, we gotta head to the cemetery, but I thought that I may have misunderstood the mission. I thought that we were getting the CCTV from the dog grooming place and the horse stables.
No.
Nearby.
Nope.
Okay. Bueno. Then I will head to the fucking cemetery.
So if we're not getting a closed circuit TV recordings, what are we doing at the cemetery?
Oh, the cemetery can have CCTV. No, the cemetery can 100% have CCTV.
Okay.
Grand Bay Cemetery is one of the largest cemeteries in Grand Bay. The prerequisites for actually being buried there are either a significant endowment to the Grand Bay Cemetery Society, or your family members proving that your family has resided in Grand Bay for at least 3 generations.
Wonderful.
It is, and always has been, a kindred associated business. One of the many things people don't realize about cemeteries is the reason why they can consistently sell plots of land inside that cemetery, even if it lasts or has been around for 100 plus years, is because they literally just wait for the family members of those who already interred to become deceased themselves, and then they move those plots, those bodies, those remains, because they've actually faded into nothing. So they dig up at that time, the older bodies are just in caskets and sell that plot of land. There's nothing there anymore. The body fades into nothing after a certain amount of time. So if you wait for the family to cease to be able to swing by the cemetery and check on grandpa, grandma, auntie, uncle, they know that eventually every family loses sight of going to stand by the graveside. Every family loses the inclination to go spend, Memorial Day with their loved ones in the ground. Every family eventually gets to the point where the remaining living members no longer have a connection to that past. And Grand Bay is no different. They've been a Kindred associated business as long as they've been in existence. They've waited, they've matured, and they've operated as a final resting place for many of the remains from savage killings, or not even savage killings, just things happen. They are a body disposal remediation tool. They believe that it's because they work for and with the mob. They've never questioned whether that's true or not. They're paid well. They have the highest of high-tech middle-range cameras. They are respected in their community. No one can lay a hand on them or touch them. And then that started to change. Nothing big they can put their finger on. But since they found that video, it was actually a film video from one of the shrimping boats that dredge the bayou. And they showed it to the right people, because almost immediately the responses to them increased. There was extra kindness from above them. The mob bosses who passed down bodies and work and what have you, they've heard 3 calls just this week making sure that they were okay. And finally, their ship came in. $1 million for this fucking video. Time to get out of the business, disappear from this place, maybe even retire, go over to Florida just to add injury to insult. It'll be great. And then the coteries cab pulls into the main gate of the cemetery. You've passed.
No, please continue.
You've passed 3 cameras. You know that there's another camera over the center of the place inside that huge elm. It's tied to the tree. Well, not actually tied. No one tied a shoestring around it, but it's mounted to the tree so it can watch over the entirety of the cemetery from its angle. And you know that the night crew, those that operate the backhoe and occasionally have to hand dig a grave, are there at that second building inside past that huge mausoleum.
Okay. Well, I suppose we'll head over that way. See if we can't, get a hold of whoever's running this thing.
That's true. Let us see who's here and what they have worth taking.
Having passed the 3 cameras, it doesn't take long for the clearly smartest of them exits the little shed, wiping his hands. Sorry, everybody else is eating. I was just using the head. You the folks here with the money? I don't see a briefcase. Where's the money?
It's in the trunk of the car.
You guys took a cab? Wait, ain't that Hollywood Bob's car?
Yeah, he was kind enough to loan it to us. Something about having prior business with a bunch of very naive actresses? I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I don't want to know.
Oh yeah, you kind of do want to know. He makes some of the best videos. It fools them girls every damn time. I thought that they were just like made up, like people were following the script and just couldn't act. But hey, Ernie. Yeah, what? Hey, they got Hollywood Bob card. There's 3 girls. I don't see no money. Well, get the goddamn money, boy. Watching my goddamn program, motherfucker. Gonna call me. Pops, you go out there and help that boy. Fuck. Come on now. Shit. The behemoth that steps out is clearly a throwback to a different age, a Hyborian age where men were made of marble and women were made of marble. Huge, massively strong pieces of marble, destroying the world around them, defeating all the evil cultists, reclaiming the world for mankind. Or some other such barbaric tale. The only thing missing is the long flowing locks and some headband, some tiara. His coverall barely fits over his massive deltoid and chest. He looks as if he chews on the headstones to make them into the shapes that they are. Bob said you need help. Where's the damn money?
It's in the trunk, but we're not getting it out until we can verify that this video is the real thing.
You mean verified? It was taken from the goddamn March Company shrimp boat. They as honest the day is long.
I don't care if you say they're honest. I don't know they're honest. Just show us the fucking video and we'll get you your money.
You don't want to watch the video. It's gonna scare you.
Please. The only thing that scares me, the thought of what may have happened in the backseat of this cab.
Well, there was that one with that blonde from England who came down with her family, got hurt. But anyway, fuck, you want to watch it? Hey, Pop, put the movie on.
While everybody is looking away, Trish is going to step into Unseen Passage.
You've already stepped out of the cab?
Yeah, but it's because she got out when everybody else got out, but as the guy started walking towards them, he saw that there were 3 of them. But then when he turned around to speak to his father, and the girls were watching him turn around to speak to his father, she's going to Unseen Passage.
So one of the 3 girls just vanishes. So anyways, what's on there? Having no clue that one of her coterie members just fucking evaporated.
Mirella?
She's looking around counting the people that's here, because obviously there's that guy. There's the guy he was talking to. Seeing if there was anyone else, just in case we need to do anything more, because we don't have $1 million. No one told us to get $1 million. We have no way to get $1 million. So thinking about the different ways of getting out of here with our flesh still and mostly intact. She's doing a head count.
There are 3 people in that particular little shed, office, living space. Because as the yell is made, and you can hear. Oh, God damn! Now here's the thing: intelligence isn't needed for most things. Let's just call it what it is. You can fly off of muscle memory. You can do things without even being aware that you're doing things. Intelligence is often, because of that, overrated and underwhelming. The one thing that you do need intelligence for, even if it's just a minute, small bit of it, is convincing yourself you didn't see what you saw. Unfortunately, they're not that smart to convince themselves they didn't see what they saw until it's proven. There were 3, there are now 2.
She gets out the cab, looks around. I starts walking towards the shed.
Yeah, ditto here. I'm gonna be with Mirella. Yeah, I think it's at the point of walking with Mirella, and kind of looking around to as she is to get an accurate count and see who's about. I think it's about that time that Jazmin goes, internally, oh fuck, wait, where's Trish?
Trish went to go get some.
No, that was
Trish
was internally. Yeah, it was a kind of thought thing, but no, there is a shared look as Jazmin locks eyes with Mirella, as just a kind of questioning, slight hint of panic of what the fuck.
Mirella shrugs. Not sure.
A nod, and just kind of a, wow, you guys really have a lovely place around here. What does it take to get a family member buried in this location?
Dying. Where's your friend?
Oh, which one?
Right here.
You ain't look like nobody's friend. I mean the cute one. With the hair like snakes, still right back there.
I'm not entirely sure. She has this thing for graveyards and older establishments, so she might just be out and about. She's kind of weird like that, but I'm not gonna hold anybody's hobbies against them. History is an interesting thing. Do you guys have anybody like really important buried here? That might be who she's going off to see.
We got a guy
definitely
that looked like Dick Sargent.
If you want?
Yeah, go find her. We shouldn't be out there by herself. Cameras being what they are and all. She trips one of them. We're gonna have to let the police know that it was a false alarm and shit.
Oh no. Sorry about that. I think we should have explained to her that perhaps this is a high-end establishment. Of course there'd be security like that. Well, if you do find her, tell her to come back as soon as she can, and, yeah.
Okay, I'll be back shortly. You make sure the video is legit. Make sure that everything's correct with the video. And I'll be back as soon as I can, okay?
Well, just so that we don't end up tripping any alarms, wouldn't it be better for him to go find her? He knows this place way better than we do.
That is true.
And he actually knows how to turn off the alarms if she trips any. Is it going to cost you guys if you guys get a false flag on your security system?
A false flag? What is that?
Well, like somebody trips it and it's not actually like an intruder or anything, and the security company's got to call down, that kind of stuff. I was wondering if it affects you guys. Okay, well that's
they're probably gonna take it out your ass though. But as you all make it to the shed, you don't have to go inside really. You can see the video being played from where you stand there in the doorway. Starts with a low angle shot, someone clearly recording how the waves smack against the side of this boat You hear a couple of voices, male mostly, and then a pointing or a clear motioning, because the camera moves against the motion of the boat as whoever's holding the camera is nudged or rocked or pushed. The camera pans up faster than anything that you've ever seen in Hollywood. Someone snatches the camera almost directly to where they were looking. Out there in the dark, close enough to the reflecting light off of the water and the whatever application that they're using to give the camera this pale bluish green tint to everything. You see it pulling itself up out the water. It's this mass of muck and mire and grime, and you're not sure. It's like that video of Bigfoot moving through the middle ground off into the distance, just close enough you know that it has, you know, a bipedal gait, and that it has, you know, the normal selection of arms, and maybe that's the head, but it's so far and so grainy you can't exactly be sure. The boat is still moving slowly and drifting mostly. Clearly they hadn't put down anchor, even though they were just there. And it moves closer, drifts closer to where this thing is, and there's mossy green grit and grime mixed with all of the reddish brown muck and mire of Mississippi mud. You know that anywhere. You've not been a tourist in Mississippi in years. None of you have, but everyone recognizes that bright reddish brown Mississippi mud, that clay that gets into orifices and stays with you for weeks on end, even though you scrub diligently. That thing that gets under the fingernails and refuses to leave. It moves in and doesn't bother paying rent forever. And then one day you're finally scrubbed and soaked and scrubbed, and finally it disappears. That's what this thing is covered in. Just ridiculously feature defining coverage. And as the boat drifts closer, even with the pale blue greenish tint of whatever app they're using so you can see brightly, you know Mississippi mud anywhere. And just when you're close enough to begin making out features, it moves. And boy, does it ever move. It moves faster than the camera can follow. You hear screams and cries and gunshots go off. The camera falls against the deck and you see someone's mostly decapitated head. And more shots, and then you see its foot or some measure of his lower portion brush past the camera and off the boat. The camera's picked up. The body is pulled away, and then the power buttons hit on the video.
Oh, wow. So that's what they're buying for $1 million?
Yep. $1 million.
All right, well.
You know, that's 9 numbers. $1 million. Now here's the thing. You all, who has technology?
I have exactly one fucking dot.
I have 1 dot in technology. Just 1.
I'm at 0 dots of technology.
Alright, roll intelligence plus technology.
Aha! The weird bullshit ass rando build strikes again.
Well,
The video's been edited.
looks like Jazmin knows.
The video has been edited.
There's no way that video hadn't been edited. That thing was close enough that you could have been able to make out features. of what's beneath the mud. You know, when you drip something over something, it takes on the definition of what's underneath it. The mud wasn't piled on that thick around the facial features, around the face. You should have been able to see that face as it was rushing forward. The video has been edited. A portion has been cut. A sliver has been spliced out of it. And it's clear that that's what was being paid $1 million for.
Oh, okay. So this is just the display item.
Yeah, but you guys wouldn't know that. There's no way that they're gonna figure out that we dumb idiots gonna smarter than we lean on. Yeah, let them pay for this bullshit. They're gonna pay for it. Let them fucking pay for it.
Now, gentlemen, she just kind of walks over to the VCR. Mind you, I'm not gonna take the tape, but can I do something and show you something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. The old man squelches further down into his chair, his hand dropping to his side. The larger one moves towards the doorway of the shed, and the spry initial one, who was taking a leak before you guys got here, moves closer to the old man sitting in the chair.
She just kind of. Can you rewind it to about 6 minutes 32 seconds?
What? What do you think? What do you think this is? It's NCSI, Miami.
I mean, all I need is for you to pause it on a specific frame. There's something I need to look at real quick, just to verify that this is what we're looking for.
Well, fucking hell! All right.
It is $1 million after all, gentlemen.
They look at each other and start rewinding the tape.
Just kind of get them to pause it on that one very sketchy frame. And what were you saying there, Trish?
I thought one of them was coming outside to look for Trish.
I think he figured he would do it after the money exchange. I think that's what ended up happening there. Okay, so as you can see here, there is something obviously wrong with this tape.
Well, yeah, who uses video at this juncture? It should have been on a DVD. You're absolutely right, and we understand about that. But we get what we get. People film what they film, and we get it in whatever format that they want.
So you're saying that this incomplete, this altered tape was sent to you?
What do you mean altered?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but and she kind of would tap on the screen, but it would short circuit the fucking TV, so she doesn't touch it. Just kind of points to the face. That should be a hell of a lot more detailed.
Maybe it's dark.
Instead of the. I'm sorry, but do you guys have any experience with, computer editing?
They look towards the big one. No, not us. Nobody know nothing about that.
You sure? Because that doesn't look right.
Like I said, everybody's used to DVDs and laser discs. No one's used to video anymore. It just looks different. Maybe it's the different frame rate. Yeah. They film it at different frame rates. Movies.
Right. So are you implying that we should be here to buy a DVD instead of a VCR tape?
Well, hell, y'all bring the money or not. Let's see the money, and you looking at the video, so that ain't really fair on our part. It's supposed to be a business arrangement. Where is the money?
Yeah, it's supposed to be a business arrangement.
For a legitimate purchase. This isn't gonna cut it. This isn't it. So we need the original footage.
You are attempting to sell me drywall and convincing me that it is coke. This is not going to fly.
No, it's coke in our drywall. I don't know about it. We got a house over there on that. Look, we want to make sure the money's here. We know that this You got a lot of people more interested, and they were willing to, in fact, pay $1 million. So, y'all's got the monies. We don't even need to touch nothing. We just want to make sure you got it on you, and then we'll go get. Like, that's what you bought anyway. The one that's not here, we got it close, and we're gonna get it to you. We just want to make sure that you have the money, because a lot of money, you know, I've seen people end up here to be permanently with us for as little as $1,000, and we are several times that. I don't know.
All right, so you started this engagement by lying to us. You say that you have the tape on hand, but I'm not sure that you do. And as you can see, you know, we are just, you know, 2 women here. We're sent as the
Wait, there was 3 of you.
Well, yes, there's 2 women here, like in this building.
Where's the third one? I don't know. I was walking them back, and there's just the 2 of them. They say she's out there in the tombstone is looking for famous people. But one of them dead body fuckers.
I don't know so much about that, but yeah, she does enjoy historical monuments like that.
That's
but
what
regardless,
you said. You said that she's out there in the dark doing things.
You know what? Actually, yes, she's 100% doing that. You know, it might. That is exactly what Trish is doing. But
Her name
regardless,
Trish?
Yes, her name is Trish. Like Tristan. She used to be a man, but don't tell her that I told you.
Oh, man, huh? But she got working parts now, right?
Oh yeah, no, full surgery through. I mean, come on, with the amount of money that we get exchanged through here, do you think we couldn't afford that?
Huh. I always wanted to try me one of them.
But no, suffice to say, you guys started this off with a lie. I'm not going to show you...
Not a lie, a floor model. This is
floor model? Why am I going to show you the money that you could very well just beat us up and run off with if you're not even willing to show me the actual model?
I ain't never beat up nobody that didn't deserve it.
Yeah, well, showing $1 million to somebody who hasn't been very trustworthy is someone I would say that's very deserving of being beaten up, isn't it?
Hell. The old man finally gets up out of the chair. These boys don't mean nothing by it. But this video by itself is worth a down payment. If the people that sent you sent anything, you know, them getting nervous, sending y'all out here by yourselves without any money, lets us know what they think about y'all. When he reaches inside his coverall, we ain't as much of a family as you all think that we are. And he pulls out a Homeland Security badge. Now, there's several ways we can do what we need to do. The money is so that we don't actually have to file an official report. We've been undercover for the last 26 years. And now we have proof to end our investigation into you double aughts, you double B's, you cold ones. There have been 14 agents that have gone missing or disappeared, formerly with the Special Affairs Department. We know you don't have any money now, but you do see the veracity of this video, and we have this being cornered within a portion of the preserves under constant monitoring. We can blow this whole thing wide open. The only thing we want is a fair deal and to get out of this business. Do you know how long a case that stretches 26 years is? The average term length for an agent is 5 years. This is 5 times the average undercover officer's lifetime in high stress, high crime situations. 5 times. we get transferred after that length of time. And we make or break our careers on undercover work. You have 5 times the number of agents that you should have here monitoring you cold ones. I know you guys got your secrets, we got our secrets, and everybody's working their own side of the street. I don't give 2 shits. I've seen enough now that I want out. These boys, they want out. You all are our way out.
Hey, Noah, what? Well, shit.
Jazmin very quietly peers near her. So do we kill them, or what?
Mirella nods very slowly.
Okay, well, well played on your guys' part. This is actually very well constructed. I didn't even think that this was possible, to be perfectly honest. You very good acting. Hilariously enough, we just had a run-in with somebody that was all about acting. That's where we got the fucking car from. But, so, $1 million?
Yep. $1 million. You
got like a bank account you want it wired to or something?
No, we need cash. Anything over 9,000 is traceable and trackable. Technically, anything once you cross the threshold of 4,500 begins being tracked. Cash is king.
And what's our guarantee that information about us, specifically your little videotapes and all of that from the CCTV of the cemetery, isn't going to be used against us later?
You got no guarantee, and neither do we. You guys could try to rip us apart right now. The only thing keeping you from doing so is that you don't know where the original is. The only thing keeping you from doing that now, making a mess of everything, is the fact that you're honestly considering that it's easier to pay the money and let us disappear. You hold the original. We tell you where the subject that we are tracking in the preserve actually is. You all can deal with them. You can sneak in, you can sneak through the guards and monitoring agents, keeping watch on them to do what it is that you've all done. We thought we had you. Several weeks ago, a body was brought to us and we tried to date it to get some DNA evidence. It faded into nothing. That was as close as we've gotten outside of this video. We know exactly where this thing is, and we're closing ranks and making sure that they cannot escape, meaning that it's going to be captured, and we are positive that it's from your side of things.
Okay. Well, yeah, let me make a call. Let me make a call, get a hold of some people, and we'll get you your funding. Hey, Noah, do you have a phone? Because, she does the jazz hands thing.
Yeah, that landline works.
Yeah, but the landline could be tapped and traced.
Oh, it definitely is tapped, but the reason why it's tapped, the monitoring agents, and he points both thumbs back at himself and then points an index finger to each of the other two, are a little busy right now.
Fuck it. Alright, well... Yeah. No, unless you have, like, a cell I can use, I'm gonna have to call on that. Or a cell you can use.
Yeah. Go ahead, give her yours. Why mine? Fuck, I don't want. Didn't you just? Yeah. But that was for shock value. He digs into his overalls and comes up with a barely used little iPhone, 2 generations old, and hands it over after swiping it. He sets it towards the phone and hands it to you. All right, go ahead and make a call. You need to step out and have some privacy, so y'all talk y'all secret code. We already cracked most of it. I think.
That's generally how it works.
No, I was actually asking Mirella if they have a phone, since apparently they don't. But it's fine. This'll work. Go out and make a call. See if we can get a hold of the funding. She hands the phone over to Mirella. Because
Mirella takes the phone and...
Do me a favor, roll composure technology.
God fucking damn it. This is why I didn't want to touch it, Ho!
I was trying to reach it, but you touched it.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Oh, this is terrible. What's the DC on this? 3? It's my
Bane plus 1, yes.
Bane plus 1's a 4, actually. Shit.
Hey, you got it.
Fuck off. I didn't. As it just shorts out in my hand.
Not quite. It's a lovely phone. 2 generations ago, it's still very current. It's once you hold the phone long enough to pass it along, the screen flickers. Just a soft flicker. Like it's experiencing a small short of power, maybe. And that's it.
All right.
That's just absolutely it. That's all the visible signs of anything untoward.
I'll hand it over to Mirella. Go ahead and make the call. See if we can get a hold of the funding. Unless you have the funding yourself, I don't.
You don't? You don't?
I don't.
Spare $1 million?
I don't. What do you think I am?
I thought for sure you would have had at least $1 million. Oh well, I guess you are young still, so it's fine. Never mind.
I'm like 23.
Yeah, but how long have you like been in he runs a finger across his neck?
That's not information I'm giving you, dummy. You know that.
Hey, we're trying to get out of the business. Why would you tell us? Should be telling us everything so that we know who to avoid and just disappear. You don't want anything accidentally said, right? You know?
I honestly, honest to fucking God, wish that I wish that at least one of our party members had decent insight. Or at the very least, we're attempting to... can I go ahead and roll insight to see if this guy is, like, lying about his intentions of fucking getting out of here? And leaving the business behind?
Yes.
Alright, I'm gonna rouse for this because I have a shit.
I can look at it if you want. I have 3 of insight, but I was actually curious as looking across the room, could I use subterfuge to see where would be a likely place for them to hide the original tape?
Alright, if that's the case, Trish, if you wouldn't mind taking care of the insight bit. And I suppose Mirella is doing her investigation work. Or whatever she's doing. I did say I was going to roll, and I did say I was going to rouse, so no takesy-backsies. I'll go ahead and expend the resources. There we go. Yeah, that's what I expected.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Use an investigation. Could I use investigation
you don't have enough
or
time.
maybe subterfuge?
None of those are anything that could happen immediately or instantaneously. It'd be a hunch at best, and for that you would still need to roll insight. You don't have time to go over the space. You don't have time. A visual look is just a look.
All right.
Yeah.
That's 5 successes.
Yes. He is 100% being honest.
All right. Bueno.
And for Mirella, being as you don't have time to go over, move things out of the way and look, it's, I guess, as a hunch, it'd be off of your insight.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Let me check my insight. I believe it's 3. Okay, so insight is 3. Do I use intelligence?
which?
Wit?
Yep.
Oh. Okay. So 6.
So that is going to be on the live play dice.
7.
Nice.
You know, a perfect place where it should be. No one ever bothers them to look underneath the VHS player, and the DVD is basically just a small sliver of plastic. It can literally be anywhere, unless of course you know exactly where. But the best place to hide is right under someone's nose, right there.
You know what's annoying
Does it
about
look
that?
like there's something under it?
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
Because you should be able to see, like, it will be slightly
Not without light.
shoveled.
Not without light.
Mm-hmm. What I was saying
I
is,
start walking towards the DVD player just to see what happens.
Keep that in there. Keep that focus. You have the phone in your hand. Remember that.
hey,
Okay.
are you going to make the call?
Actually, you know what? I use back me up on this, hopefully. I use presence.
Mm-hmm.
And
Before you go any
Can I
further,
use
Trish, would you be so kind as to relate the efforts of manipulating police officers who've been exposed to trauma, the increased difficulty, so that your coterie members are actively aware as the potentiality of that success?
The problem with that is usually if you try to use presence on or force a police officer, being as how they have been repeatedly exposed to trauma, what tends to happen is it turns aggressive almost immediately. Their fallback is to take control of the situation and put down whatever is causing the problem. So more than likely, when you try to mind bamboozle a cop or a armed forces person who has seen a lot of bullshit, they're gonna immediately turn it up and turn it into violence.
Hey, but that's only if you fail, Mira. You could always try.
Well, considering that I was thinking that was the goal that I was going to have in mind, was for them to become violent. I was kind of hoping that would be the case, actually. But the question is, how many people can I capture with that?
What effort or what discipline are you attempting?
She has 2 dots in presence.
Okay.
And 2 dots in presence is...
Oh, you forgot to select your specific powers before the game started, didn't you?
Yeah, but I was thinking it was probably just because of her personality type. I was thinking it would probably be Daunt. Daunt just seems to fit her character a little bit more.
Okay.
Doesn't help in business. Why would it fit her character type? Wouldn't help her in business. It would be anti-effective in business. She'd create more enemies that she'd have room to defend against.
Yeah, she's a shark. You haven't figured that out yet?
I haven't figured that out yet, but go ahead, make it happen.
All right, resolve and composure. But how many people can she affect?
One way to find out.
All right, resolve and composure. Composure is that, resolve is that, 7. All right.
As this roll was going down, did I notice that they were walking towards the DVD player?
Yeah.
Yes. They're walking towards the center of the room to get towards the end of the room, opposite the door to get to the DVD player. All right. So.
And I'm going to re-roll my failures, dropping a willpower point.
Okay. Woo.
That's better.
It was already pretty good.
Yeah, but I want to make sure it works.
I'm sure it will work. In what capacity, we shall see.
That's the problem, yes.
Hey, do me a favor. Do you have the book open?
I do.
Yes.
All right. So under Daunt, under the system, scroll down to that last sentence, starting with the A word there.
Asshole?
Close.
Add the user's presence rating to any intimidation roll. Attacking the user requires a resolve and composure at difficulty 2.
Uh-oh. Man, there's something about, Jazmin's coterie mates doing things that are getting them killed tonight. I don't fully understand it. They're dropping like flies, man.
It's fate. You're all destined to die. I've seen it in the future.
It is fate. Ever since I pissed her off over in the other server, she's just been haunting me.
So here's the situation. You are in the center of a room with officers of loose connection to a special affairs department. Sad. They were the long-suffering, usually poorly funded department of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They were the long-suffering department that had been looking for an opportunity to prove that what they had found out there in the dark was real to more than the people that were there. These agents were absorbed into other organizations and continued some of those investigations with black bag money because of the founding of what the Kindred call the Second Inquisition. These three have had enough of sitting, watching, and watching all of the violence, trauma, and the dastardliness of the cold ones. You move into the center of the room and bare your fangs, both physically and emotionally, to people who have watched the Kindred of the Grand Bay Area destroy the world around them. They know you all are the monsters that give them nightmares and keep them up at night. So your twitch towards the monstrous and going from just a relatively tall dark-skinned woman to a hissing, snarling monster does not trigger the usual fright that it would for the average person or even the average police officer. As stated, they've been investigating and undercover watching the Kindred. Their first response is to put it down, and they have enough experience to know what hurts. Fire, aiming at the head, aiming at the center torso and closer to the sternum. They've not had any body to collect, but they know that that's how you cold ones do combat with each other, grabbing the throat, nearly ripping the head off. Then there's the old wives' tales. Garlic, wood through the heart that kills everything should kill them as well. There's the throwing just a bunch of rice to make them count each grain. There's having a pure white animal. There's wild roses that you could use to bind them, supposedly the thorns. And in lieu of that, you can drive them out with holy water, revoking your invitation. And as police officers or as federal agents, you can drive anything out with enough firepower. So as they draw down, their goal quite simple: shoot until it stops moving. Is there any other declared action in this moment?
Yeah, take cover.
Yeah, dive towards the TV and the DVD player. I'm gonna try to knock the DVD player off to see if there's a actual DVD, if the DVD is under there.
Trisha's going to put the big one between her and everybody else.
All right. We went over a little bit on time, but I'd like to leave you on a non-cliffhanger, or as close to a non-cliffhanger as possible. So if you guys would be so kind, we're going to simplify things down. Everyone roll 1d10. That's the amount of superficial damage that you've taken in the exchange. The bullet flying and them fleeing out of the area. Fuck it, it's better to escape with their lives than with the money. And after all, no one's going to find the DVD out there in the cemetery because no one knows where to look.
And this is the how much now?
And that's how much superficial damage you take.
Great.
Ow. That's a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Well, Jazmin, you're alright. You should be okay. At least you didn't get punched.
I don't even know what the fuck your role is, Ernie. What's the actual role? I mean, it's low, so congrats, but what was the die?
I don't know how to read it because I used roll, so what was the dice?
You need to use...
Alright, you took no damage.
You use the beast. The beast actually gives you a number.
So does the Resident Sommelier or Realm of Darkness. Yep. So you need to use dice roll. No.
Yeah. Here's hoping you don't get a crit. Oh, there you go. Yeah. And now, is this after or prior to halving?
Prior to.
Okay.
Now, my thing is, like I said, I'm using the big guy for cover, so if I get shot, he got shot too.
So when the smoke clears, situation mostly untenable. And untenable meaning that the moment has passed, the moment of tension, the moment of release. It's that afterglow, the come down of it all. As you all sit in the wreckage of this shed, bullets abraded, federal agents escaped into the night. The reality and understanding that Grand Bay, Bayou La Batre, has had embedded federal agents this whole time. And out there in the actual preserve is someone of you being cornered by clearly several teams to keep it monitored and relatively contained until they have enough forces to bring it down. And while you have the video, it is clear that the DVD, the original, the unedited version, the non-trailer version, is out there somewhere in the cemetery. Out there somewhere amongst the tombstones. Which is the real only reason why they were upset or curious as to what happened to the other one. Because while it is relatively impossible to find a specific small item hidden in a small item inside a haystack of bodies, i.e. the graves themselves, there's only so many that are fresh. However, they re-dig them up to hide them actually not doing anything with the bodies that have been brought to them. But you do have the video, so technically you all were successful, though in your honest understanding of the situation. There is at least one DVD exposing Kindred to federal agents. Out there in the preserves right now is something that they are gearing up to put down. As always, it comes down to what is it that you all do with that information.
Well,
Storyteller, here's a question for you. Does the prince of the city know that these people were federal agents?
no,
How would you know that?
Know that? Yeah.
Well, is it common knowledge based on what she kind of sent? Or is it kind of like it was kind of a new thing for us that there's federal agents in there?
It was 100% a new thing. It is not a accepted, known, or even expected fact that a federal agent of any sort would go undercover investigating Kindred. That is the very definition of a violation of the traditions, specifically the masquerade. The only one that even the Hakata follow. The only one that even the Anarchs follow. The only one that even the Sabat in their own twisted sort of way follow, because they just believe in killing everything and destroying everything. They don't hide what they are because they don't plan on anything living past them being there.
Oh, that makes sense.
Just kind of absolutely fucked from that blow, that absolute burst of shrapnel and fire. An incredibly wounded and bleeding Jazmin kind of crawls her way out from behind a surprisingly not good cover couch, and just looks up at Mirella before standing up and go, "What the fuck?"
I had to do something. We were at a serious
No, don't give me that bullshit. What the fuck?
I got shot once.
I don't care if you got shot. I got shot. Fuck it. We've got a job to do. We got a job to do. Who? Okay. Trish, are you okay?
She stands up and just kind of... I would have gone looking for whatever was out there, but then I felt like you guys needed my help, so I came back here.
Yeah,
and
no,
you took me shot, Mirella.
I asked for Mirella to go and find you, and then I thought, hey, this would be a great opportunity to get one of them to go do it. But you know what? Apparently that was a dumb fucking idea. I guess I should have sent Mirella out.
No, we got the tape. We just gotta find the. We have to find the DVD. It's out there somewhere, and let's be honest, they're not coming back, so we have plenty of time.
I'm going to leave the needle in the haystack to you, I suppose. Your efforts are best spent doing something mindless, anyways. I should probably get a hold of the prince and let them know all of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to use the phone?
Prince.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm gonna use the... Yeah,
Trish
no,
takes out her phone and calls and holds it up so that they can all be heard.
Yeah, please, thank you. See, this, Mirella, is making the call.
How do I know that you don't have the ability to touch electronic devices?
We've been in a coterie for so long!
I know that, but again, how would I know? I never just seen you use a phone.
Yes, for a reason, Mirella!
Oh, now I know what the reason is.
Okay, whatever, it's ringing. Is it ringing?
It is, in fact, ringing. And as the line simply picks up, not that any kindred ever needs to breathe, but you can hear the soft breathing from the other end.
Jazmin here. We have the tape. There is evidence to suggest there are duplicates, and there is apparently a kindred out in the preserve being hunted by federal agents. Speaking of which, the people who were selling it were federal agents, and due to shenanigans, that's a boo-boo that we'll have to deal with later. But suffice to say, the job is done, but there are complications. Suggested path from here.
So, allow me to wrap my mind around this. There is a something, or is there a kindred in the preserve?
It's a kindred, most likely a kindred.
So, you are made aware that there is a kindred in the preserves being haunted by federal agents.
Yes, ma'am.
There are copies of the video.
Yes, ma'am.
There have been, or still are, federal agents embedded into our community.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you all at least capture one so that we might question them?
No, ma'am.
Do you know where in the preserves they are hunting this particular kindred?
No, ma'am.
Do you know where these copies are? And if there's more than one?
It is...
Yes or no will suffice.
Yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am.
And you believe that the assignment, the requested mission, was completed?
No, ma'am. I misspoke.
I like your positive outlook. My question for you. You asked for my suggested course of actions. Using your clearly functioning mind, having clearly failed the assignment, and knowing what we'd agreed upon, because silence is in fact agreement. For bringing this to my attention, I should reward you that there are federal agents embedded in our community. But for not quite crossing the finish line. What do you think would best stay my hand from ensuring that an example has been made for outing us to the Second Inquisition?
Finishing the job, ma'am.
And that is an admirable attempt, but what do you believe the job actually is?
Ensuring that evidence of our existence does not fall into the hands of anyone that shouldn't have it, ma'am.
So it seems you have a course of action. I may be wrong, but it definitely appears that way to me. As for the video and the other aspects, I hope that... Oh, look at the time. There's literally 4 hours left in the night. That you all fly with Mercury's wings, either to success or far enough away where hunting you will be enjoyable.
Thank you, ma'am.
My pleasure. Don't mention it.
I assume the line cuts off.
Yep.
Well, fuck!
Well, that looked like it went well.
Shut the fuck up, Mirella. Using Oblivion Sight, are there ghosts in this fucking cemetery that I can interact with?
That's funny. Normally the victims of life mourn their loss by being tied to or connected to this place. The bodies here aren't connected to the raves, the kindred that did them in, because most of the bodies here were in fact kindred kills, masqueraded as other things. Oh, well, drain the drive, run him over with the car. So now the wraith is connected with the car. Oh, well, I didn't mean to kill her. Let's push her off the building, make it look like suicide. Oh, wow, I forgot to lick the wounds. I guess they had to have a tragic lawnmower accident that accidentally removed the entire top portion of their head and neck. Oh, I've drained too much from the femoral artery. It won't stop bleeding. Whoever knew that Alabama has such a high-functioning spree killer? Now, where did they say he stayed? And everybody that they could make disappear has come here. So yes, the world is awash in the spirits of the dead, but these spirits are typically significantly older than most of the others in this area. And as one of the larger cemeteries, these are spirits that, well, they probably would have ended up as other things anyway, because of the crimes of their lives and the crimes of their unlives. And here's the thing. You all were, in fact, fairly successful. You all managed to do, while not the impossible, the improbable. You all found and uncovered a major conspiracy happening beneath the prince's nose, and one that endangers the entirety of the Kindred community. And as you watch as Jazmin's eyes disappear, and I don't mean they just teleport out of her head, leaving empty sockets. No, her eye color fades like the Wizard of Oz, the color going in reverse, disappearing. What forms over her eyes are best applicable to a cataract, and that would be horrible enough, but as that cataract forms, the endless waste of nothing appeared there, wispy and smoky. You can literally stare into her eyes and see forever, the endless void at the beginning of all things and the endless void at the end of all things. And they say that the eyes are the windows to the soul. So while Jazmin may have a brighter disposition, or at least a more lively one, if the windows are in fact windows to the soul, there is nothing at all there.
I'll just kind of... If there was a specter within speaking distance, just, So is Jazmin aware that most of the kills here are Kindred?
Yep. Realizing what the Kindred would do to themselves to protect their secret, you understand how very much will be done to those that sacrifice that secret.
Yeah.
And on that note, it is 29 after the hour. I would like to thank you all for the official first one-shot of The Coast After Dark. Hopefully enough secrets have been spilled, enough strings connecting some of the many things in the offing have been revealed. And I'll see you guys next time in print and episode. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.